Hey guys, welcome to the first ever ASL Qualifier cast. A big thanks to Soup for getting me these qualifier videos finally without any Korean audio on them. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm planning on going through and casting all of the qualifier games that did get casted. And one thing to mention just real quick as we're starting this, this is the first time and they've changed how they're doing it a little bit, it looks like this season. So the very first video might be like a little bit off as far as sound and stuff. I'll balance stuff very quickly as we go, but I didn't want to get any spoilers. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. A couple things just to mention real quick, right? So most of the matches I'll be casting here today will just be the finals of brackets. That's just how they do it. And also they have renamed SSL back into ASL. So that's fantastic. So we don't have to dance around and make different reminders about it being a new tournament. So ASL is back. This is season 19. This is the first day of qualifiers. There are 2 days. So if you lose on day 1, you can play in day 2. And we're going to be looking at this bracket. So the match that we're going to be doing is going to be best against ArtUser. That's kind of exciting. ArtUser hasn't really done that well in the qualifiers. So he's up against best. That's, obviously best is going to be favored, but that is winnable. Let's take a look at some of the other players in this bracket. Okay, so this was best path through here. One thing to mention is in round 2, he beat Park Soo-hyun, and that's Abin. For those of you who are very deep within the scene or have been watching ArtosisCasts a lot, you've definitely seen some Abin games. He's very, very strong. As you can see, he did take a map off of Best. So he does fall here. It's a tough matchup for him. Then Best beat Skay. So that's 2 Terrans in a row, by the way. Though he only beat Terrans to get here to this finals, and that is best matchup. Skay, very, very, very strong. This is a guy that at any moment could make it into ASL, and it would not be a surprise. Skay on his way up was able to take out Probe. It's a well-known amateur player. Down here, you can see Bishop ran through the bracket for a little bit. So ArtUser was able to take out Bishop over here. I know Bishop is a big favorite on this channel, an absolutely fantastic player who's been in ASL before. He did not have a very easy path, obviously losing to ArtUser here, but he also lost to Yoonjun Suk. And this is Stone or Noob. Okay, there's 2 different pros known as Noob. Well, I guess you could kind of call this guy an amateur, but this guy's super, super active, a Protoss player, and a very, very strong player indeed. And then ArtUser, of course, did take out Bishop on his way to the finals against Best, but also down here, Park Soo-bum, that is Tyson. So Tyson's in good shape. He's been playing a lot lately, a Protoss player there, so ArtUser having a little bit more variety, a Protoss and a Terran on his way to that finals. Some of these other guys are very strong players. I don't see any super weak players here. Like I've heard of / played some of these other names, like this guy up here. And it looks like he played random. Wow. Okay. But not super, super high end, but these are like qualifier regulars. We probably will get some newbies in some brackets, but there you go. That's what this bracket looks like. And yeah, we're going to go right into this finals match. Again, I would say that this is probably favored towards Best, but Best, sometimes can lose these PVZs. Okay. Just want to take a look at these sound levels. I think these sound levels are going to be good. And anyways, we'll start this off. This is map number 1 on Radeon, and we have Best in the top left, and in the bottom right we have ArtUser. For those of you who don't know who ArtUser is, because I would assume anyone watching this knows who Best is. Best has been one of the best Protoss players in the entire world for, actually, he's got like the longest streak of that ever, because he never really did StarCraft 2, so it's like literally from about 2007-ish to now, he has been consistently like a top 4-ish Protoss, which is insanity. It's literally, I think it's the longest streak of being a top player probably in any game that I can think of. I guess there's a few that, you could look over at fighting games, say like maybe Daigo has something like that going on, but it's pretty damn impressive. Anyways, against ArtUser in this bottom right, ArtUser is a strong Zerg. This is actually someone that I don't know if you call it fortunate or unfortunate, but I've played on the ladder countless times. He is a pro. He was on Samsung, if I'm recalling correctly. He's actually like basically best friends with Sharp. So yeah, that's an old teammate of his, and ArtUser is good. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he has not been in ASL yet. Maybe he made it in one season, but yeah, not someone that's regularly in there, although he's always in good shape and he's been very, very active. Anyways, Best gets down here and he will scout out that this is a pool first, so he can go ahead and prepare for that. And it looks like he already did start a cannon back at home. It looks like 6 slings coming down. He did throw a pylon down there to go ahead. Oh, it is double cannon, in fact. That's funny because I was casting a game in these exact positions with these same builds the other day, and I was like, oh, I think he'll go double cannon. And then the guy went single cannon and just kind of put a couple probes there with a gate and everything. And I was like, oh, okay. But here we have Best, who's a better Protoss, not going for that. That's kind of interesting. I guess, you know, he's being maybe a little bit careful here. You know, throwing the 2 cannons down. The Lings absolutely can't do anything. And the Lings don't even try to go across the map, as you can see. They're just kind of chasing that probe off, pushing him back a little bit. I wish they had changed the colors for this. A little bit hard to differentiate the yellow and the white on that mini-map in that bottom left. All right, so pretty normal as far as openers go. Oh, not anymore. Never mind. Okay, so that is a very fast layer. I thought he might do something like speed, take off gas, go into third hatch, that type of thing when I saw that cast, but no third hatch as of yet, and Best is checking for that. But that is a very fast 2-hatch layer off of a pool first. So not super common. It looks like ArtUser's probably going to play a pretty cheesy game here, and honestly, he is a little bit cheesy. He's kind of aggressive, but he's not hyper aggressive in the games that I've seen, I've casted, I've played against him. But he does mix in a fair amount of cheese. I think it's actually like a fair way he does it. Now, I don't know exactly what this is going to end up being. You know, I would imagine that this is going to be a 2-hatch Spire. And that was like, I would say like a year and maybe a little bit more ago. Yeah, maybe a year and a half ago. Like, I did have some Zerg and Protoss friends. Don't judge me for that, but I had some Zerg and Protoss friends who actually told me about this becoming a build that's actually kind of legitimate, where you go 2-hatch Muta. And it feels like it's a little bit of a tempo play. Like, it's surprising how many cannons you have to build so quickly to actually block it. Because if you get the Muta Scourge over the Stargate and deny Corsairs, the game basically ends. So, you know, it's a pretty decisive play. And you can see he's utilizing his Lings and kind of has them spread out. If you look at that mini-map, he's really attempting to stop any probes from coming into Scout. So the Zealot comes up, sees, oh gosh, there's nothing there. So from here, you should be thinking like, okay, this could be some sort of weird 2-hatch Hydra or 3-hatch Hydra on 2 base. This could be a Lurker Ling all-in, and this could be a very fast layer, and it could be a Lurker drop. So there should be some additional cannons in the mineral lines coming up, basically. He does start the first Corsair here, and I'm sure that'll fly across ASAP. But those are kind of the things that you would have to go off as alarms in your head. You were like, okay, the third base is at least very late here. So this should be something cheesy aggressive. So we'll see if Best is able to block that. Citadel of Adun coming up very quickly. We do not have any additional gateway or anything so far. And yeah, there are mutas on the way. So as he flies across, like, you need to start these cannons fairly quickly here. Okay, this is a little bit nerve-wracking. So the Scourge comes out. Okay, now he knows exactly what's coming on, and he needs to start some more cannons immediately. So Canon, I actually had to just look this up real quick because I don't know it off the top of my head for some reason. Cannons take 31 seconds, right? So that's like you need to start them before the mutas hatch. But he actually has some zealots coming over here, and the zealots will buy the time he needs for those cannons to finish up. So he's sacrificing these zealots. And the thing is, this is a bad economy from his opponent here. ArtUser does not have a strong economy whatsoever. He has no drones at third base. He has okay saturation. Double Hydralisk Den. Oh my god, this is so cheesy. This is actually amazing. So he's got the mutas out. He's forcing lots of Corsairs and cannons in mineral lines. And what he's doing with the double Hydralisk Den, that is not a mistake. He's going to get speed and range at the first time. This is so incredibly all in. So he's basically baiting all of this anti-air defense with these 5 Mutalisks and a few Scourge, and it will go into a pure Hydra bust afterwards. And if you don't have enough cannons at the front, ArtUser is going to break you down. There is a very fair chance here that ArtUser upsets Best in this first game. Just to mention, this is a best of 3. So just because ArtUser might take this first game down doesn't mean that Best is suddenly eliminated here from the finals and ArtUser makes it in. So a few more zealots coming out. He's trying to figure out what's... Best knows something's wrong. Like, the mutas haven't come up yet. Is he trying to Ogre Zerg Gamer him? Where you flying with, like, 100 Scourge and mutas all at once to try to overwhelm? Is he trying something like this Hydra bus? You know, that's what these zealots are trying to figure out. I'm very nervous for him because the Ling Muta are going to deny the zealots from any real scout. And here come the Hydras. Dude, 2 cannons should not be able to hold this realistically. Let's see. More cannons going up. He's got 3 zealots with legs, so the legs definitely going to help. Going ahead, taking out Overlord, doing what he can at the moment. DT comes out. Oh my god, Best is so good. The single DT being taken out, or taking out these Hydras, is gigantic. The zealots kind of flanking them. They do target everything down really quickly, but Best going to shred these Mutalisks. And the Hydras, I don't think will get enough damage done with the DT here, because he just can't get more detection up here. I think he started another gate in the main base, but, like, he doesn't really have other protection. Okay, yeah, he does have a secondary gateway. He may just need here to throw out a secondary DT so that he has time to warp in cannons, because it seems like, you know, ArtUser is so all in at this point. He's getting Overlord speed. He's trying to make something happen here. He needs to prevent more cannons from warping in, which is really, really tough. You know, the DT has +1 attack, so at 2 shots Hydras, you know, that point of heal that they get isn't going to protect them and make them 3 shots. So, yeah, the fact that he had +1 here, the fact that he had legs, like a very perfect defense so far from Best. Now, ArtUser going across, you can see in the top right here, 44 to 21 workers. So there's really no coming back from this unless ArtUser gets the win in the next seconds. That is a lot of cannons. Best has this. Best has this. He's going to win game 1. Not a bad idea at all here, I would say, from ArtUser. Like, I think this was a fair idea. It was super cheesy. It was super risky. But Best is just a stronger player than him. So, you know, he tried to pull something crazy off in this first game. It has not worked out. He is going to try to attack up here again. The 1DT is going to sacrifice itself for a little bit more damage. I think this is enough cannons between the cannons and the probes. He's actually coming, like, kind of close to breaking out. The Corsairs come up and will be able to maybe pop the Overlords. And ArtUser will just GG. All right, so we're going into game number 2 here. We have ArtUser up at the top left of Dominator. We have Best down here in the bottom spawn of this 3-player map. Just to mention, this is, because this is the qualifiers, every match you see will be map 1 Radeon, map 2 Dominator, map 3 Deja Vu. I always do like that type of idea for a qualifier where it's like, okay, it's these maps in this order. It just makes a qualifier tournament run so much more smoothly. You have exactly 3 things to practice. You can really plan out your qualifier run. And there's no crazy stuff like map vetoes and stuff that could slow down the bracket. So, yeah, that's what you have here. Best leads 1-0. I do think you'll probably be able to just close this out against ArtUser. ArtUser, you know, he is obviously a very good player and you know, a pro gamer from old days, but not to the level of Best. And in fact, if he were to upset Best, that would be one of the bigger upsets. You know, it'd be first off surprising to get ArtUser into ASL because it's just the world is so stacked right now. And then you look at some of the other players that are in this bracket as well that we looked at earlier. You know, Tyson's in very good shape. We have some really great amateurs with Noob and with you know, why am I brain farting on this? Aubin was in there, Probe was in there, and then you have Bishop, who's really strong, especially against Zerg. This is some nice harassment from Best. So it would be a bit of a surprise if he's able to get in, but you know, we'll see. We'll hold off on too much judgment and see what he's able to do. This is actually some crazy harassment. You don't see this type of harassment all that often, but you know, it's against like a hatchery first play, and he did scout him first, so it kind of works out. So he's actually harassing these drones so hard while going Nexus first. It looks like a really good start for Best. Like this, I can't really think of a much better start than this. Right, that's pretty impressive. So the Probe continues to kind of rotate around and harass a little bit and scout a little bit, but I mean, he knows everything that's going on right now. You know, so while we kind of wait for a moment here in the middle of this series, big thanks to everyone for, you know, checking out ArtosisCasts. I do appreciate you guys. A huge thanks again to Soup for making a clean feed for the qualifiers. That is amazing. As I've mentioned, I want to do the qualifiers every season. There just hasn't been a clean feed, and here it is. So this is awesome. And don't forget, in case anyone's wondering, Tasis and I will be casting the entirety of ASL Season 19, and of course you can check out our ASL English Patreon for that if you would like to support. But yeah, those videos will all be going up not on this ArtosisCast channel, but instead on the Soup Esports channel. So yeah, definitely do check that out. Really exciting. And I think this season is going to be so good because we are going to have full coverage of the qualifiers as well. So like the stories are building right now. Okay, so the Lings are going to try to come in. Best is trying to block all these Lings with 1 cannon plus probes. And that's some very good probe micro. We did not lose a single probe as of yet. And 3 get in. 2 of them have taken a cannon shot. Ooh, he loses his scout probe during that, which is a little bit annoying. But 2 of those Lings are like, oh, my bad. Okay, I saw that wrong. Only 1 of them took a cannon shot. One of those Lings does have some damage on it from probes. But yeah, this is looking like it could do some potential damage. So that's 1 probe dead. We have the hatchery, the 3rd hatchery going up. This is a very good opener overall, I would say. The fact that he's causing lost mining time, you know, obviously it was a Nexus first from Best, so Best is probably still happy, but considering, I think getting a few passes, wow, losing that second Zergling really makes it less likely that he's going to kill any more probes at this point. You can kind of turn the probes to fight. So, well, it doesn't go as well, but, you know, getting at least a single probe in there, causing a little bit of lost mining time, those are some things to kind of salvage the situation a little bit, even though he did spend larvae that could have been drones, or some amount of them could have been drones. You do have to make at least a couple Lings at the beginning of the game. Anyways, this Zealot will continue to follow that Ling around. I don't think we're going to see any more damage from that, so wouldn't mind if we stop kind of looking at that. This one Zealot trying to infiltrate into the natural or maybe even the main base here. This is more about scouting than anything else, and he's going to be able to see the Hydralisk Den, which is... Ooh, he actually turns around. Okay, but he's going to see it, like, his vision is almost to it right now. Yeah, he sees that. He sees that. And he gets a drone, too. Oh, man. Not looking very good right now for ArtUser. You know, he's trying to do a 3-hatch Hydra play after running the Lings pass. He's playing against a Nexus first build. And it just does not look very likely that he's able to do anything here. So I believe he just threw down 2 gates plus Citadel. So what he'll do here is make sure that he has enough cannons. And 3-gate is going to allow him to instantaneously put on more pressure. Most strong Protosses will still make a couple Corsairs here to continually scout and possibly pop some Overlords. But yeah, just the fact that he's so quickly able to get into the Zealot legs with this as well. Because, you know, a lot of times these 3-hatch Hydra builds happen and you build enough cannons and everything, and the legs might be a little bit slow, so your counter pressure doesn't do that much. Here, I feel like it's going to be completely the other way around. I think that Best is going to be able to put on pressure so quickly. So some more cannons coming in, and everything looking really, really strong right now for Best. The range upgrade is almost done. He might want to transition right now. Like, you know, he's got 6 Hydras out front. This is a great way to break up some of the wall as your range upgrade finishes. There goes that first Corsair. He does have another hatch on the way. It's just, will he switch into drone production over the Hydralisk production, I guess, is the question. And the thing is, as Zealot legs finish, is, you know, he did lose that 1 gateway, but he's going to have 2 gateways producing right now on these Zealots. So he's going to have a good, like, 9 Zealots or so to go counter pressure on the map with. So he is going to have to make Hydras still, but I feel like this is the only opportunity for him to get some drones in. And, you know, that is you know, half the difficulty of playing Zerg is figuring out when can you drone safely. But he's still making Hydras. Oh my god, this is so cute. A proxy gate, and there might even be more than 1 proxy gate, but he might just slip like a DT out of there to just absolutely ravage the 3rd base. Something like that would make some sense. And, you know, since his Corsair has seen a lot more Hydras being made, he's still making a lot of cannons. So ArtUser's frontal attack is just not going to work. Best simply will have enough, and he does have that +1 attack. His Zealot legs are going to finish up pretty soon here, I think. Although, because it looks like with that proxy gate, he probably has a Templar Archives. That's my guess, at least, is that it seems like you wouldn't make like a... I mean, you could make Zealots out of there and harass, and they would do okay. But like 1 DT slipping out would be a big surprise. Yeah, there it is. So the Zealot legs might be a little bit slow, but he is getting into Psystorm now. There's the +1 armor in his new Forge. Everything looking fantastic here for Best. Just a absolute mastery. So the High Templars plus this many cannons. And look, ArtUser, you have to give credit where it's due. This is not necessarily bad that he's gone only Hydras. Some Protoss players would under-defend against this. By the way, notice how he left his Corsair hanging right over the natural. If you look at the mini-map, I'm going to actually do this. See that? That's giving him vision to drill his drones out, okay? He's keeping that there specifically. You saw how the probes were sitting? Watch, he can pull these probes really quickly through this. Okay, he has Psystorm. He doesn't even need to do that, but that's why that's sitting there. You saw him pull his probes before. He was just making sure that he's totally fine. And there's the DT. It's actually going to go towards the main base. That makes some sense. There shouldn't be any units sitting there. The Hydra's going to be completely broken. And yeah, that's it. GG. Big win from Best. All right, so we continue forward with the qualifiers. We're going to be doing this finals match from Group 1. It's going to be Bisu going up against Nojiho, and that is Pianist. This guy has been a well-known Protoss amateur player for quite some time. His bracket run was actually kind of impressive, beating Spire over here, you can see. Kim Sang-gon, that's by Spire or he's been going by Sol more recently, but a very well-known amateur Zerg since Remastered came out, and he's always been in every qualifier, so he falls a little bit early here to Pianist. Looking at other names in the bracket that are kind of interesting, PCS is a pretty well-known Zerg amateur player. Definitely have seen him around quite a bit. This one has thrown me for a loop. I didn't even mean to do that because he's using ID Loop. So there's a famous Chinese Terran known as Loop, but that's a Korean name. So I don't think this is Loop from China. There's a possibility it is. He ended up losing to Pianist up here, but he did beat PCS, which is like pretty impressive. So I'm honestly not sure. I don't know if this is just a Korean player that happens to have like the same ID, or possibly it is the Chinese player. Sometimes the Chinese players do play in these qualifiers, so it could be him. Not entirely sure. Looking down at the bottom part of the bracket, you can see here very famous female streamer. This is Bohye. She's actually a very low S rank Protoss at this point. She's the strongest Protoss female player in the world as far as I know. So a pretty strong player overall. And very impressively, she actually did take a game here off of Fleta. Fleta, you guys might remember as the champion of the last big high school tournament. He won that with Protoss. And then he actually decided to switch to Terran, which is the first time that I've ever seen a Protoss player switch to Terran. And he actually didn't do that well. He's back to Protoss now and did get up to fight Bisu over here, but ended up losing. And that's it for this bracket. I don't know who this guy is. He has the same name as Royal, which is Kim Ji-sung. Yeah, the same name as Royal, which is kind of funny. But there you go. That is the bracket that we're looking at. So Pianist versus Bisu. It's going to be a PvP here in the group 1. Of course, you know, before we just did group 4 and now we're into group 1. It's just like how quickly a bracket goes through. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and watch these games. There we go. And it shows here, yeah. So you can see down at the bottom, it says that ACS Season 1 for 2022. I believe it just said the runner-up. I actually wasn't looking long enough there, but Pianist has done well in the ACS before. Like I said, he's a well-known amateur player. You know, I think I've casted probably a couple games of his on ArtosisCasts, but not as many. He's not a really highly ranked amateur, but obviously if you did well on ACS, like, well, I guess you are a highly ranked amateur, but I guess he doesn't have as much hype behind him as some of the other strong amateur players that I end up casting to a larger degree. So, yeah, anyways, we're in this PvP, and look at that. We got a mirror matchup here on Radeon. Should be fun. I don't think Pianist has too much of a chance. Bisu is one of the best PvP players ever. Ever. He's such a strong PvP player. And I'd imagine that he's going to be able to end up taking this, but who knows? You know, these really strong amateurs nowadays have the skills. It's pretty crazy how strong so many players are right now. You know, what are we, 27 years into the game? And we've got such a different looking pro scene than what we used to have. And, you know, it's still very active. We still have like a lot of really strong players grinding all the time, trying to break into the pro scene. Probably, you know, obviously not as much as when Brood War was on TV, you know, 5 to 7 days a week in the prime time in like 2008. But still, a lot of really strong players out there. And I know Pianist has been grinding for a long time. Definitely have seen him around on the ladder and everything. So, you know, I'm excited that we're getting some of these players making it to the finals of their groups. You know, and maybe they don't make it, but just seeing some new players like really compete up at these higher levels is really fantastic. Because that's one of the really exciting things. And, you know, I guess since we're still very, very early in the qualifiers and we've only had best qualify so far, and obviously we have the other 5 players, the seeds, right? Which is like Sulky, Rain, Sharp, and Snow, right? Those guys qualified. And then ACS was won by True, so he's in there. So we have 5 players qualified. The 6th player qualified, you know, we just cast, which was best over ArtUser. And now we're going into Bisu. So it's like, damn, man, we're filling this out pretty quick. But you know, we are still very early in the qualifiers, and I have had some people asking like, oh, do I think any unknowns or any, you know, any first timers will make it into ASL? And my answer is, I actually think it's going to be rare not to have someone pop into ASL for the first time for the next few years at least. Like, if you look at the landscape, because, you know, I cast like a pretty wide range, like anything from the best foreigners to the top pros, you know, and obviously I play, you know, 25 hours of Brood War on the ladder a week as well. But like, there's so many players that are really, really strong, and the top pros are still better for sure. But that doesn't mean that they can't lose. And like, some of these people are playing much more than some of the top pros. Like, the way that you make your living is not via prize money. That is not it. You make it via streaming and being entertaining. You know, and a lot of times that entertainment is like, oh, he's a great player, so I want to watch him. So it's not necessarily like acting like a clown, but you know, that's just something to take into consideration. And you know, when you see some of these other players, like for instance, I guarantee you, will be casting rich today. If he doesn't make it to the finals of his qualifier, man, I'd be shocked. He's in such good shape right now, right? So I do think that we're going to have a lot of new players getting in. Oh my God. That's a good scout. Scene 3 gate right now is a pretty damn good scout. So Bisu, this is kind of funny. So he went Robo, so that Robo's for Observer, and he went into 3 gate immediately. So this is like Bisu saying, okay, I don't want to die to DT, but I also want to be able to attack. So looking at this position, if Pianist goes directly into Reaver from here, he has a lead. That's a better build than 3 gate. Like if he goes 2 gate Reaver, controls it well, he is in theory ahead of Bisu. That doesn't mean that you just win. Still definitely a playable position for Bisu, but Pianist knows this. See, he puts up the support bay. It's because he got that probe in and scouted. He doesn't need an observer at all. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. If you go Reaver, you make your Reavers nonstop here. You get a nice shuttle out. We'll see if he goes for shuttle speed or not. I don't think he will. I think that... Oh. That's an interesting pickup. Is he going to drop that at the back of the natural to check for Nexus timing? I think that's what he's doing with this. I really think that's what he's doing with this. So anyways, that is a fascinating. I have not seen anyone do this, but it makes sense because he's going to skip Observer. So what he wants to do is line up his attack with the Nexus almost finishing, because that's going to be the point of maximum power. Is that the right thing? Oh, he's going to scout the main. That's brilliant too. Okay, well, I mean, I didn't really expect that, but he does get in there. That is dude, Pianist is actually playing so smart now. What I was saying, though, right, like if someone starts a Nexus, the point where it hasn't paid off yet, like the maximum hasn't paid off, hasn't given any dividends yet, would be like probably really right as the probes get there. Would be like maximum where like you've spent the most and gotten the least from it. So that would be a time you would want to attack. Anyways, he goes up and he just kind of makes sure, you never know. Your opponent, after they kill your probe, could go DT, cancel the Robo and go DT. That's like kind of a bad build overall, but it could have been. So Pianist scouts that. I think very, very big brain play from Pianist. Now, Bisu sneaks in with an observer. He sees that there is no Nexus. He sees that there is a support bay. So he knows that this is going to be a Reaver push, which he should be expecting. He knows that that's kind of the best counter to his build. He's going to run up into his main base right now, his own Reaver tech on the way, but he's going to be playing against already 2 Reavers and a shuttle. So his Robo production is way, way behind. This is a good position for Pianist. And in fact, Bisu has made 6 more probes and a Nexus. So like, no matter how you look at this, it's a way better and bigger army for Pianist. And yeah, I'll just throw this out there now because I'm sure people are looking at it. It's like, it says strong toss. I've never seen him use that ID. He's known as Pianist. So I'm going to just call people by their most known IDs. I'm sick of people changing their IDs on a whim. Okay, anyways, here we go. The Reavers come out. The push does begin. Bisu had a flanking force, but it's really far away right now. It hasn't been able to come up yet. Good micro from Pianist. And the flank is big. Flanks are amazing on-ranged units. But the Reavers are being worth their weight in gold here. And it looks like Pianist is going to be able to bust through. It looks to me like game 1 is going to go here to Pianist for sure. I can't imagine how Bisu would win from here, no matter how good he is. Like, these Reavers up in your base. He's got 2 full health Reavers. The probes come down. That's going to be game 1. GG. All right, game number 2 here. We have Pianist here at 3 o'clock. Dude, they need to switch the colors. Guys, it's Shift Tab, and you'll switch the color to red-blue. Come on. It's like literally the same gray on the mini-map. Anyways, yeah, so we have on that 3 o'clock position there on Dominator Pianist, who was able to win game 1, and then we have Bisu the top left. Now, Pianist is going to trust in the StarCraft RNG gods. He's going to go proxy gates in the center and just try to kill Bisu. Not a terrible plan. One thing to mention about Dominator, This is a map where for Protoss versus Protoss, it becomes rock, paper, scissors, and you're really kind of obsessed about trying to figure out, should I go 3-gate, should I go DT, or should I go Observer? Or should I do a weird in-between like Observer Reaver build? Okay, those are kind of the things that you're thinking about as you start on this map in Protoss versus Protoss, because that high ground is so strong. So there's a real possibility that he just catches Bisu off guard while Bisu optimizes towards one of these 3 different ways to play the map. So yeah, the proxy gate's going in the center. I think that this is actually very, very smart. Now, one thing that I'm sure that people are thinking about right now and getting ready to type into that comment section is like, well, you get angry at cheese on the ladder, but then you talk about how this is a smart play to make 2 gates in the center. This is a tournament, and Pianist is literally 1 game from beating the best Protoss of all time and getting into ASL. Like, that makes this smart, right? Like, this is quite the gamble. Bisu is a lot better than Pianist, but he might actually literally get into the hardest, biggest tournament. He's already beaten a lot of good players to get here. He's obviously a very strong player, and he might just pick up a win. Now, because, okay, he throws that down, 100% Bisu will make a Zealot here. There is not any question. When your probe gets there that quickly, the odds of a Zealot are much higher. When an offensive pylon goes down, it's like 100%. I am going to be honest, this looks very good for Pianist. This looks very, very good for Pianist. Now, that pylon was Bisu's own pylon that looks like it's an offensive pylon. Of course, we can't see that on the mini-map because they're basically the same color. But that's kind of funny. Like, I think it's just their... Oh, wait, no, I'm so sorry. That is an offensive pylon once again. I'm just like, what? That's so weird. The colors are very hard to tell apart. Anyways, he has 2 Zealots out now. So the first Zealot that comes down, like, that's not going to be able to do anything. He's going to have a second Zealot. The thing is, there's going to be 3 Zealots for Bisu, and in fact, he'll probably go up to 4 here. Another offensive pylon. Okay, here we go. Pianist starting to attack in. Okay, he loses his probe. That's pretty big. And then the third Zealot pops out for Bisu. Bisu microing like crazy here, trying to stay alive. Okay, a good surround. The probe's really helping out here. Dude, the probes are just MVPs. My God. It would be a lot better if we could tell these Zealots apart, but Bisu's crushing right now. It's 10 probes on his opponent's side and 16 for him. And look, off 1 gate, he's stopping a 2 gate. Like, you can really see the difference here. Oh. Just crushing this push so far. Okay, so Bisu is sending a Zealot across the map. This is a great counter sometimes if you start to get the lead like this. Because your opponent doesn't have anything in their main base. Like, you know that it's proxy gates that you're up against. So you just send a Zealot there, and your opponent just loses so many probes if you micro it at all. Now, he has a shield battery, utilizes that for some heals. 2 of his Zealots have big hull damage. And see, he loses 1 pretty quickly, but he did have a 4th Zealot pop out. So he is definitely ahead here. Definitely looking very strong. I think Pianist, as this Zealot enters his mineral line, he's going to be close to GGing. You have to surround this with the probes almost instantly. All right, more Zealots coming down. Yeah, see, he's trying to surround that. If he can surround and kill that reasonably quickly and then pick off a couple Zealots here, who knows? Maybe he can still bring it back. You know, Zealots deal damage so quick that if your opponent screws up with one and you get the surround and everything, like, I mean, things could snowball. It's a possibility. Not a very likely one right now. I think Bisu's holding this as well as it can really be held. But, you know, it's 2-gate production here coming in. Of course, Bisu did add that secondary gate, but it is a lot slower. Oh my God, he's just taking such a better engage. It's, like, actually silly. It's actually silly how hard he's wrecking right now. He's over twice the worker count. He's got more Zealots than his opponent. Pianist is definitely dead here in game number 2. Again, I don't think that this was a bad choice from Pianist. He's going to GG. Yeah, this is the I'm letting my Zealots fight GG. All right. Here we go. It's going to be game number 3 here on Deja Vu. We have Bisu in the top right as yellow, and in the top left, we have Pianist as gray. So going to be able to tell them apart this time. That's nice. That's a nice change. And yeah, like this again, even though Bisu lost game 1 and then Pianist took, I thought, a very reasonable risk in game 2. You know, I could see, well, I'm saying this wrong. Forgive me. Let me restart this. So, like, Pianist gave himself really good opportunities. He's done some smart things, I think. I think the probe drop off, just the scouting he did in game 1, got the counter build and just nailed it. You know, game 2, he took a huge risk. It didn't work. Okay. He's obviously playing smart. He's obviously very good. But Bisu is, like, I mean, the guy's won multiple championships. He's still one of the best Protoss in the world. I literally have not been really nervous for Bisu, even when I saw the 2-gate. I'm like, he'll be able to hold this probably. His micro is really second to none. So, you know, when you get to that level, you just have the stability that is so hard for anyone to get. That's why we play best of 3s. You know, if it's a best of 5, I give Pianist 0% to win. Or very close to 0. Anyways, Pianist is going to be able to scout Bisu really, really quickly here. He scouts him first. Bisu looks like his probe is going in the wrong direction. Yep. So Pianist will get that first scout off, and we'll see if that does anything for him. Oh, is Bisu going to the center? That's hilarious. Bisu actually scouts center and then goes to the top left. Okay. So he saw, I think he saw the angle the probe was at and assumed it was probably from top left. Sometimes that can go wrong. And look, another offensive pylon. That one might be a fake, though. We don't know if he's actually making... Oh, yeah, he is making a zealot. Okay. So, yeah, it throws down some offensive pylons here. The offensive pylons, actually, they do a good job. They really block a lot of mining, slow a lot of mining down, and they're another thing that your units can attack when the zealot comes in. Oh, my God, he goes shield battery in the mineral line, which blocks more. Yeah, so this is, like... This is hardcore right now. Like, Pianist is going for it. He's putting all of his cards on the table. Now, this first zealot, of course, is Bisu's going to help clear that first pylon. I believe Bisu will go Dragoon here, and it'll just come down really heavily to micro. Now, instead of going after the second pylon, he goes after the shield battery, because the shield battery is kind of like a big part of the crux of this. Look, he's trying to delay it. Like, he just stopped position the probe to screw up the zealot and to make it dance away. So he's doing anything he can, Pianist is, to slow Bisu, to hurt Bisu here, but already he's lost now 300 minerals of structures and 0 damage, real damage so far. Bisu has a Dragoon pop out, so he has Dragoon and Zealot against a Zealot and Probe. Probe dead already. Zealot very low on health. Bisu looking in perfect position here to be the second player through the qualifiers after best. And I will tell you what as well, I look at the tournament and I'm like, I'm actually really happy that we had best first, now we have Bisu. Sometimes in these tournaments, you'll have these weird things that happen where like one race just doesn't really qualify much on a given day. Maybe there's some upsets or whatever, hard brackets, whatever it might be. But occasionally that happens. And definitely it's something that's happened to Protoss in the past. So it's really nice to see 2 of their best players just kind of crushing through right at the beginning. By the way, Bisu going into Citadel. Yeah, and, you know, I think the Citadel makes some sense as well. He already knows he's got a bit of an edge. And the 2-gate is somewhat predictable. Normally when you go for a rush like that, where you're spending this additional money and spending units and not really getting very much, you add the Second Gateway just as a stability factor. It's like, okay, you know, we have enough units. This is still a playable game, which kind of makes the DT like a smart tech. And the thing is, there's different ways to go DT. This is kind of like Bisu's a little bit ahead and you went DT. So I feel like you can almost, I'm not the biggest PvP expert, but it's I really like the way that Light thinks about greed and how adding a certain tech can be a type of greed. So, like, I'm trying to transfer that over here and say, you know, if he's a little bit ahead already and he adds the DT, even if his opponent goes detection, he's not dead, right? Whereas if you just do, like, if you cut a bunch of stuff, like you cut range and you cut early units to get, like, really fast DT, and your opponent blocks it, suddenly you're really far behind. Whereas this is a more normally built position for Bisu, where he already has kind of an organic lead from holding the rush. So the fact that he's going into DT here is like, okay, well, even if Pianist has the Observer out in time, there's still things he can do with the DT tech. You know, he can maybe go into Psystorm for anti-Reaver, that type of thing. And it's not like some sort of unwinnable position if it doesn't work. So I very much like Bisu's call here. It might give him an easy, quick win. And in fact, here comes down the DT, and it's just going to run past. So he's looking for the potential of a win here. There is an observatory on the way, and I think he saw that DT run past. So yeah, I think he's going to block the ramp. I think. We'll see. If he doesn't block the ramp, then he maybe didn't see it. By the way, of course, we just saw that Nexus get canceled. So, you know, that's a little bit of a pain. But again, Bisu is not... Like, look at this. The probe count is very similar. You know, Bisu has a DT out, so there's some potential damage here for sure. Yeah, he's going to get some probes, man. I think he just didn't see this. Oh, boy. And he brings out his secondary DT to push us back and get his Nexus. Yep, Bisu's crushing. He's crushing. I thought he might have seen that, but now we have Pianist kind of on top of this. He does some drilling there, but 10 probes dead. Like, that is so big. And he pushes everything back with this DT as well. With these Dragoons attacking this and only one observer out, the second DT is coming up to the natural. He might get a couple more probes out there. Oh, misses that one. He actually tried to swipe that. Okay, gets one and then turns around. He knows the observer's coming. Very good pullback there from Bisu, who has his Nexus on the way. A 10 probe deficit. Dude, it takes like 2 minutes and 10 seconds or something to get that many probes back off of a Nexus. So even though he has that second Nexus, like, yeah, he's not going to catch up on this probe deficit. That is super, super rough. From here, here's what I think. I think Bisu, there's a fair chance that he just goes into Observer to play it safe. But I could see him just going into Psystorm as anti-Reaver. You know, Psystorm actually is better than Reavers in some ways. It's a lot harder to get in the earlier game. Like, Reaver is definitely superior in the earlier game. Yeah, he has a Forge, so that's his anti-DT right there. But, like, once you have Psystorm, if you just Psystorm the Reaver, like, if the shuttle doesn't have speed, the Reaver's pretty screwed, because even if it flies in to pick up the Reaver, it's going to take so much damage. Bisu now pushing up. He's going to maybe... No, doesn't quite force the cancel there. Gonna pull back for now. Single photon cannon at his natural. I love little poke outs like that. Just come out, poke a little tiny bit. It screws with your opponent. You know, if they think a full attack's coming, like, they might do things like cut a couple probes, add another gateway, make a unit that they didn't want to make, that type of thing. You're kind of controlling the flow of this game right now. All right, the Reaver is out. Oh, he pokes that again. Saw the Reaver there. So he's very, very aware. When you see that Reaver, you know that you don't really need cannons everywhere, because there's definitely not DT as well. There's no way he would be able to afford DT plus that many Dragoons, plus the Reaver, and making probes and all that. It just can't happen. I am interested to see if we have a couple High Templars pop out, whether or not he wanted to go for that. 4 gates here for Pianist. That makes sense. Like, he needs to either absorb... Yeah, there's the High Templars, and he sees that. His Observer at least is telling him everything. But he needs to either, like, absorb an attack from Bisu, or possibly set up into a position where, like, the game just goes really long. I think the timing for an attack probably isn't there. He might try that. A lot of times when people get behind, they're like, okay, well, I'll just go all in with an attack. And you got to do what you think is going to be your highest % chance of success, right? And everyone's going to have different feelings about that based on their skill set, based on their experience. Wow, he actually did go 2 DTs with this? That's kind of insane, actually. Oh my god. He actually has potential to win this game right now. What? 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 That's so crazy. Bisu needs to block this before it gets to the cannon. Like, if he suicided to kill the cannon, he would get the Nexus with the DTs. And he's just barely not going to get in because that probe went up and saw this. That's wild. That's wild. I can't. Dude, that is so stressful. And now he's shown that he has a DT to try to chase that out. That is insane. So you're telling me you can lose 10 probes there, make probes nonstop, make units nonstop, add 2 gates, get reavers and shuttles, and make a DT. I tell you, man. I tell you. Protoss is a cool race. Jeez. I can't believe that he could afford that. I cannot believe it after losing that many probes. Obviously here, Bisu's still well ahead. That was a good block. But yeah, you know, if you get in and kill that cannon, 2 DTs kill that Nexus quicker than you can even imagine. So, you know, Pianist taking a lot of risks. A lot of risks. Really trying to play aggressive games here. But Bisu showing his level. Showing his quality. He's pushed everything back. He's in complete control of this game right now. He's going to have a lot of Psy Storms. Since we see that many Zealots, probably he has Zealot legs on the way. Like, you could just utilize those for tanking, but generally you want them with speed so that Reavers are going to not pair quite as well against them. Slow ones just get picked off so quickly. All right, comes forward. He has that Observer in his army as well. That might be a focal point. That's another way you could try to come back in a game like this. Maybe you can get a pick on that and you have a couple DTs to help clear out the army. Looks like his DT actually rotated around through the 3rd base of Bisu to catch reinforcements. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do, at least. That's what he's trying. Yeah, see, double DT. Okay, that's a great idea. I love it. I love it. Puts, you know, what do we hear? 4 swipes? So like 160 damage? All right. Extra 160 damage out there. You're doing what you can right now. You're making any difference you can right now. All right, so Bisu kind of pulls back, and the word that just popped in my head, he conglomerates his army. He pulls back, brings his army all together here. Ooh, the snipes! See, I think that this is actually what they wanted the Dark Templars to do, is do little assassin missions. It's like, you know, when they made the game, obviously no one was playing it at a high level. So it's like, yeah, it's an assassin unit. It's like a ninja. And generally, that's not what you see. It's just like weird timings where your opponent doesn't have. I guess maybe against Zerg, it kind of is still kind of does that. But like that type of thing where you run up and just kill a random High Templar, it's like, okay, I mean, that guy, he served his purpose. That was pretty solid. Okay, Bisu's army right now looking pretty darn scary. He's up 11 workers, but up 31 supply. So that's an extra 20 supply, and he has Psy Storms as opposed to Reavers. There's only 2 Reavers for Pianist as far as I know. There are Archons in there. Archon Zealot is a very quick mobile composition. The Zealots actually have better DPS than Dragoons. They're actually, you know, when we get later into the game, they build quicker. They take engages really well in kind of bigger, sloppier situations. So makes a lot of sense that he's gone into that. It's just how good will these Psy Storms be from Bisu when he's already ahead in supply? And Bisu should be attacking her. You can see he's really screwing things up with these storm drops. First storm finally goes off. And he's like, Pianist is having such a hard time clearing this. And, oh, Jesus. Down to 27 probes. Bisu will eventually just drop the hammer. Oh, he's almost got a storm there. Just 2 more seconds. 1, 2. There we go. Pianist's doing an okay job dodging. Yep. See, that's what you're looking for right there. That was actually a very swift pickup there from Pianist. Well done. Checks the 3rd. Bisu actually took a different 3rd base. Thing is, right now, Pianist's supply will get closer to Bisu. If he can somehow max before they fight, he's down 23 workers, so he'll actually have a much stronger army in a lot of ways, and it'll really come down to Psy Storm. And obviously, like, positions, arcs, and stuff like that. And in fact, right now, they're very close in army supply, right? Because he's down 21. You got 21 to 169, and it's 190. So they're basically at the same army supply. Woo! You can see how Reavers cannot dodge Side Storm. Dude, the storms are insane. The storm, look at that. That is pure damage. That is absolute madness. So Bisu's going to crush this. Pianist is going to say GG. And that is going to be Bisu qualifying for ASL to absolutely no one's surprise. Love to see it. Greatest Protoss of all time. Absolutely crushing in the face of adversity. His opponent took a lot of risks. He played solid. He played smart. He even, you know, took like light risks. GG, Bisu qualifies. All right, we have our third qualification match here. And this is for Group 2 on day 1. And it is probably the most stacked qualifier bracket I may have ever seen for ASL. Let's go over it real quick. So first off, we have TY, the StarCraft 2 legend. He's very good at StarCraft 1 right now. Obviously started his career there as Baby, the youngest pro ever at the time, and just really, really good. Very fun style. And we have him going up against Mind, a former MSL champion who has made the finals here against JYJ a few seasons ago. Really, I mean, these are two of my absolute favorite pro gamers of all time across all games. Like, I am so excited that these two are going to play a TVT against each other. But look at the roads that they had to go through here. It's insane. Stork lost to TY 1-2. That is crazy. I hope he used nukes. I know he did it, but that is craziness. Stork is in like every single season, so he's going to have to qualify tomorrow, or that is it for him. That is pretty big. Looking down here, Gamo going down against Mind. Gamo is like maybe the ultimate gatekeeper for ASL. This guy has been in, I want to say, like 8 ASLs or something like that. Like, he's been in somewhere near half of all ASLs. He's really strong, not very popular. He's like one of these guys that I don't think will literally ever make the top 16, but I'm never surprised to see him in the tournament. And Gamo, in this previous round over here, took down one of the strongest up-and-coming players right now in Paralyze. If you watch ArtosisCasts, you see a lot of Paralyze games in there. He's in really, really good shape. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that, because Gamo Zerg against Paralyze Protoss. Paralyze has very good PVZ right now, so that's kind of a lot of fun. But that's not it for the bracket either. We also have one other really, really strong player in here. And where was he? Where is he? Where is he? Here it is. Dude, this is crazy. 1127, okay? This has to be the player that you saw last season. He went by Wiko. This is one of his AKs, 1127. He was better known as Noel. So he was in ASL last season. He ended up losing to Queen and Rain early on in the tournament. So, I mean, no big thing there. He had that really cool Vulture drop build, if I recall correctly, on Dominator against Queen, if you guys might remember that. But there is, in the first round, a player that was in last season not making it in. The player he lost to is a little bit known. He's a Zerg amateur known as Judge, who did go on to lose to Mind right there. So, yeah, this is an insanely stacked bracket. So we literally have, like, this guy is ASL level, ASL level, ASL level, ASL level. So that's 4. This guy I've been saying might make it in this season. So that's 4.5. Judge, I wouldn't say so, but this guy did make it in last season. So, like, that is an insanely stacked bracket. Wow. Very excited about this one. Should be just an excellent match between TY and Mind. They are, I mean, they're... Sorry. They are, I think that their styles are actually a little bit similar. They're both very, very smart Terran players. So we'll get into this now, and here we go. And, oh god, they're different colors. And this is going to be game 3, so it looks like they're tied up 1-1. Of course, I have no control of what games we're jumping into here. But yeah, it started on game 3, and it's TVT, so I guess that works out. That works out just fine. Might still be a long one. We're on Deja Vu. TY in the bottom right. Here you can see, oh wow, this is some really great observing, guys. Oh, this is fantastic. That is some high quality observing, yes. No, let's jump back and forth and select everything. Don't ever complain about my observing on this channel ever again. This guy has to have no idea that they are on his camera right now. Anyways, oh my God, I'm getting seasickness. So top right is mined, and of course we keep switching back and forth, and the mineral patches are the same, so really hard to watch this right now. I'm sure this will get a little bit better, but yeah. So mined versus TY. Let me talk about these two just for a second here, okay? You know, obviously I've casted StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 forever. TY, of course, went over to StarCraft 2 during the Kespa switchover. Mind didn't really end up doing that. So about TY, he was one of the 4 Terran horsemen, and he was just like one of the best, most accomplished players ever. If you look at the way he played, he was, in my opinion, by far the smartest player ever in StarCraft 2. It was like him and SOS basically were just like thinking about the game on a different level than everyone else. I think that TY is an absolutely brilliant player. He's very harassment oriented, especially for a Terran player. And then you look at Mind, and Mind, of course, I've told this story like a million times, so forgive me, but I'll never stop. There was a point in time where Mind and Flash were both rising at the same time, and we knew one of them would be the best Terran in the world. Who was going to take over this kind of legacy of like championship level Terran play? I thought it was going to be Mind. Mind was like known as the scholar Terran. He was so smart. He came out of nowhere to beat Bisu in MSL when Bisu was going for like 3 in a row. And it was just brilliant play. Brilliant play. He is such a smart player. You watch him play and he finds every opening, every timing. The way he approaches the game is very different from others. So it's a couple of really brainiac Terran players going at it. You know, these are not guys that I think of as optimizers like a Royal or a Flash. These are not guys that I think of as aggressive as like Speed or, you know, Sharp. It just very brainy play, and I hope that we do see some of that here. So anyways, the observing getting a little bit better. And it looks like it's going to be factory expansions on both sides. So just, I mean, they're going for the tried and true, the careful openers that can kind of deal with anything here for their 3rd game. You know, they were both in such a stacked bracket that, you know, if you lose at this point, you're like, damn, man, 1 game off in a bracket with like 6 players that legitimately could be an ASL. Man, you look at some of these other brackets and it's like 1 to 2 players. And it's like, oh, that's some rough stuff right there. Okay, so that is a very quick add-on from Mind. And it's a Vulture first from TY, and we don't see an add-on yet. So if TY sits on 2 Vulture and doesn't move, and Mind makes a tank, Mind is going to be well ahead. If Mind starts a tank and TY sends both Vultures, TY will get a little bit ahead. Is he going to send? He's just sitting. Oh, and he goes 2nd factory. Okay, and there's the 2nd factory for Mind. Now, I don't know if Mind is going for a Vulture or a tank. Oh, and there's the tank. Okay, so there you go. And I realize the observer might have clicked on it. Like, I'm not always looking at exactly what you're looking at on the screen, please no. There's a lot going on. I'm sometimes looking at other things. So, he goes tank first, and he sends the tank out immediately. 1 tank beats 3 Vultures. So, you know, it's closer than you think. There's actually like there's a lot of funny things where it's like, if both players micro and get consistent damage, where like it suddenly switches like really heavily into one favor, like 4 Vultures beats a tank, you know? But yeah, he's got a 2nd tank now as well. Armory on the way. I know these builds and how they line up really, really well. Mind's build is better than TY's here. Mind is going to attack down with 2 siege tanks, and TY just doesn't have good quality units to deal with this. His units deal with everything but this. And I believe it's 2 tanks, right? Like, we haven't really been looking, but I'm pretty darn sure he went 2 tanks. So 4 vultures right now, 2 tanks like decimates. Yeah, 2 tanks and now a vulture rally with a 3rd factor on the way. I don't know if that's mines or speed on the way. Both would be very, very strong here. Here's the first tank. What you do is you pull back into your 2nd tank. Notice how he sits on the high ground. This is perfectly done from mines so far. Yeah, he's already killed a vulture. I think TY is in so much trouble. Look at the amount of damage he's going to put out in this tank. Like, if you can target that tank down, man, oh my god. And now Goliath's coming out, which is better than vultures here, but bad. Yeah, see, he's already picked that off. Mine is all... This game is so mine favored right now. It doesn't necessarily end right now, but the tanks still have good health. He's landing the barracks to screw it all up. TY probably needs to pull more SCVs. He needs to actually surround the tanks. He has to take this so seriously. The problem is that there's now 3 factory vulture that's rallying down, and you got speed. So as long as he keeps the tanks alive and tanks damage with the vultures, I know that sounds almost counterintuitive. Like, oh, okay, there's 1 pick. Whoo! Oh my god, the repairs. And he gets another Goliath down. Still huge, huge damage. Big advantage right now for mine. And part of the problem here is these Goliaths are purely defensive. You cannot attack with them. He does have a starport. That's going to be his potential to come back into this game. I think he should go add-on right away with it. He should honestly play this exactly like Mihu. He should just produce non-stop out of these 3 buildings that he has. Like, get a drop ship, maybe get siege mode, mines and speed and stuff, and just, like, kind of try to push this back and maybe get a counter drop. I think that's the best he can do. But anyways, that opener from Mind was, like, really, really well done. The hold from TY did a little bit better than I thought it would. The thing is, sometimes you get mines with that, and if you have some mines laid, the Goliaths can no longer hit the siege tanks. And as soon as the Goliaths can't close and kill the siege tanks, the game is basically done. But he got the speed upgrade, which actually I think is more robust in some ways. Like, you guarantee damage rather than, if this all works out, maybe it's a win more to go mines first, is what I'm trying to say here. But anyways, yeah, you can see right now TY in kind of a tough position. Now, it could be helpful if he actually has a Wraith building right now. I did not notice. He actually does have an add-on building, which is what I originally did want to see here. Sometimes a Wraith can help put... Oh, he has 2 Wraiths there. I'm sorry. But yeah, anyways, he has 2 Wraiths there, so he should be able to push this back a little bit. Hopefully for him, there will be some comsats coming up soon, because he needs to clear the mines and take a high ground position. If you get contained there, you will never break out. It will not occur. Okay, he is getting Cloak, and he is getting a 3rd Wraith. Tough position for TY, but he's catching up on SCVs as well. That's actually kind of impressive. He was down 6 or more SCVs there, and now he's only down to 2 to 4. Part of that, though, can just be that, comsats were made. Those cost 4 SCVs to make, so... Yeah, I guess that kind of accounts for a little bit of this closing of those supplies. So 3 Wraiths into dropship. Yeah, I like this. I like this play. I like that he's getting speed right now. I like that he got siege. This is, it's funny. I say you should play this like Mihu. Mihu plays these types of positions, I think, better than Korean pros, because he does this type of opener all the time. And yeah, if you don't know who Mihu is, he's the best Chinese player. He's the best Terran player that's not Korean. Is what I would say. Like, he's certainly more accomplished than Gypsy, but I think they're somewhat similar in level. But yeah. Anyways, I think that this was not a bad idea by him, but it might be a little bit slow. Like the vulture drop. Even if he gets, look at this, it's an 8 SCV lead. Even if he equals that or even gets a slight SCV advantage here, the position is so much better. Okay, drops 1 off here. There is a tank pre-siege, so really good pre-siege there. Vulture's chasing this back. This might be his only opportunity. Okay, his Wraiths are actually attacking Goliaths right now. I can see it on the minimap. His Wraiths are attacking Goliaths. This is the most important thing right now. If he can break this Goliath and get rid of those tanks and push into this position, just 100% absolutely key. The TY has to get on top of that high ground. Okay, no Goliaths. There's a Goliath there. He made a 4th Wraith. Ooh, I like the 4th Wraith. The 4th Wraith is going to really help him to power down these tanks as quickly as possible. Yeah, it would be helpful as well. Like, notice he scanned there. That's to help get rid of some of these mines because he knows he's going to have to move really quickly to the high ground. And as soon as they unsiege, he pounces. Really, really smart. He's trying to remove these mines. He's actually missing a few shots on mines. Mind pulls back slightly here and sets up a siege again. But partial control of the high ground? This is way better than it was a moment ago for TY. It's still very bad for TY. There is no question in my mind that Mind is winning this game right now. But TY has made a little bit of progress here. The problem is his wraiths are no longer a surprise. If you make basically Goliath tank from here and some missile turrets, maybe a few vultures mix in, but like you just kind of start closing the map up a little bit more. There's no real way out. Okay, good pick, good pick. Is he going to try to just walk around? You know, TY actually has a lot of army supply. Thing is, position is everything in TVT. TVT is a lot like Go. It's like the position that you're in is so important. All right, Goliath range is done. That makes it even harder for TY to make these wraiths work. Zone starport on the way. Yeah, you can go pretty late starport here, honestly, as Mind. Like, you don't need to worry about +2 as much because you just have that high ground siege arc. Yeah, if he just rallies down, if he macros Beastly from here, like he's on 58 SCVs, 3 bases with 3 gas, and he can do anything with it. Like, he could go multiple wraiths with it. He could just go, like, pure siege tank turret, you know. The turrets are going to be really hard to get through. We might see TY shuttle things out to the left. That's a possibility. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, he does have some mines. Okay. But it looks like that gets cleared pretty quickly. Like, maybe he only had 1 mine there. Stuff like that is pretty common, where you're laying your mines and then you just kind of send them out to try to get damage. Third base has been taken by TY, but obviously it's a lot later than what Mind had there. Supply is very similar. The thing is, even with more army supply here for TY, don't forget that a lot of it's Vulture, a lot of it's Wraith. And you just, you know, those, they don't really stack up. Look at the, oh man, look at the amount of siege tanks. He might have an opportunity to overwhelm the Goliaths. Like, if he gets in, if he cloaks, flies in, gets some good, solid volleys off before a scan. Like, sometimes you can break through these lighter Goliath positions, but this is a great push from Mind. He's, like, taking his lead and pushing it a little bit further by getting rid of some additional siege tanks here. The only thing is the Goliath count is a little bit low. I feel like that's what I would be focusing on right now as TY. Like, if I can maybe... Like, if you break once, you might be okay. Great push there. Very defensive position by TY. No, Mind is closing in. Dude, pros can't help but make Valkyries in this matchup. They can't help it. They're like, I saw a Wraith, I have to make Valkyries. It's so funny. I'm actually a little bit of a Valkyrie hater for early and mid game. Even amongst these great pros that are so much better than me. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's an expensive unit you're making when your opponent has 4 Wraiths and is clearly making dropships. Valks are not good against dropships, guys. Like, they technically beat them, but it's slow goings. All right, he drops off 1 million vultures on the side. Obviously, he has a big amount of minerals that he's trying to utilize in other ways. This is a smart move. I like it. He can lay a ton of mines on the side of the map. There is a world in which you can just start ferrying stuff over towards the left and try to play a very long split game. It's tough. It is a tough thing to do from here. But you know, you're in the finals. Like, you gotta do your best here in game number 3. You can't just give it up. You know, your opponent starts taking a couple of bad attacks into maybe another main base that you took, and the game recovers. Okay, we just saw a Wraith by Mind as well, so he might be going like 1 to 2 Valkyries into Wraith himself. When you have a containment up, heavy Wraith play can be really good. Yeah, see, he has a second starport there, so it does look like that's what he's going to do, and that does make some sense. Like, if you are Wraith man and you're against Wraith Valkyrie man, you're dead. So that's a great time to make Valkyries. But if you're just making like a couple defensively, it's like, I don't know, man. Anyways, he is fairing units to the left side. The problem with this is when everything's split. I'm going to actually just draw on the mini-map because I have that ability. When it's split like this, like he's holding this position, Mind can only get his units back, or rather, TY can only get his units into different positions via dropships. So it's like, okay, how do you reinforce a side? Well, it has to be pre-reinforced. And that's what's really hard because Mind can unsiege everything he has and just hit one location instantly. Like, watch this, right? Like, he has to basically dropship some stuff down here right now, and the Wraiths and Valkyries just move to intercept that. I think TY is dead. I think that's what we're looking at. See? Intercepts. Drops some tanks out. That's too many tanks to deal with. He did win the Wraith battle since he made a couple of his own Valkyries in there as well. Has to lift that command center or that's just going to die. Yeah, a couple of Goliaths come in and suddenly this doesn't do anything. TY... He should just lift this. If he's going to stay in this game, he needs to lift that command center right now. Okay. It's like, it's also, I think this is also a position where, like, if you GG'd, you could argue that that was okay. I would try to continue this game because he is expanding towards the bottom left. Mind actually kind of took a funny base over at the top left's third base location. But yeah, this game is completely in control of Mind right now. In Mind's control, I guess, it's a much better way to say that. But you never know. You know, TY has some interestingly sieged up tanks. You know, when you're moving all your units around to bust various positions, maybe that opens up a situation where you can bust this front. Probably not right now. He actually, the reason he's laying mines there is in case a counter drop comes in to clear it, then it'll just blow up. It might blow up some of his army as well, but that's okay. Because when you're clearing contains with drops in a very contained position like this, you need everything to work out really well. So even if it blows up both sides, you're happier as Mind than TY is. Because, again, Mind is, like, in control of the ground, so he's able to very quickly move his army around. All right, he's moving in. Oh, the tank count is just so low. He can easily break through TY's forces over here. But there's the drop, okay? There's that reinforcing drop we were talking about. Obviously, it's not doing super, super well, but it will, for instance, protect himself from these tanks just rolling down and killing his new fourth base down in that bottom leftish area. Oh, a couple Wraiths being caught there. TY on the offense. TY is up in supply right now. This is kind of a funny game to watch because TY is kind of out. What do we call this? I wouldn't say outthinking necessarily. It's more like, okay, you know, he defended that, and some of what Mind has made I don't think was appropriate. I did already talk a little bit to the Valkyries, and, you know, if you have a big contain up like Wraith, going heavy Wraiths can be very good because it drops block shit. Drops block ships. Blocks drop ships. And things like that, right? And the thing is, like, in my opinion, when you get a big containment like that, it comes down more to your ground army. The fact that you have the instant mobility to move around the center of the map and hit different locations where they have to use dropships to reinforce. If you macro very cleanly and you make sure you have a fair amount of missile turrets around the map, the missile turrets will slow the dropships, and the speed of your reaction everywhere, having simply more units hitting locations, in my opinion, that is the cleanest, best way to finish out a position like this where Mind was so far ahead. Now, TY is still fighting back. He doesn't have the gas at his third. Right now, Mind has 5 gases. His main gas will be running out in about a minute. So, you know, that brings down a little bit, but he's got, like, Mind is approaching infinity, where it's like, okay, he's never going to run out of anything. TY is working towards it. He's trying to get up to this type of money where he can make anything you want. And he's got good supply. He's been very efficient with what he has. So these are all very good things. Another push in here. Dropships going over the side. It does feel like he's... Oh, this is a good catch for TY. This is such a funny looking thing. 5 red dropships. All right. In the meantime, TY actually drops this top left position, so he's going to deny 2 bases there, but he's getting 2 bases denied himself. And again, who has better mobility here? Well, because the contain out in the front, like TY can only break these positions with dropship play, whereas Mind can run his army anywhere he wants. So even though the supplies are still very, very close to each other and TY is absolutely putting up a good fight, the game is inching towards Mind throughout this. Now, TY looks to be bringing all his units down. He should break those eggs just to make this smooth. Because it looks like he really quickly wants to break this. And yeah, he's going to drop some vultures. Oh, I like that. I like that. Maybe it takes a couple of hits in there. That's going to save some tanks. And he clears this finally. Really important moment here for TY. Now, if TY can push all the way, like where those tanks just siege, if he can get up there and hold that type of position, then he can clear 9 o'clock and he can maybe clear towards bottom left. But no, Mind gets down here too quickly. His response time with these units is too strong. And you can tell, by the way, the difference in how far ahead Mind is. Look at how he has 3-2 upgrades and TY has 2-0. When you're behind in TVT, you say, screw it, we'll stay on 2-0. I need my minerals and gas for everything else. When you're ahead like this, like Mind, you just get every upgrade and you say, all right, my army is so beefy at this point. And in tank versus tank, 2-0 is all that matters. But when you get Goliaths, Vultures, SCVs fighting in there as well, that makes a difference, having the 3-2 upgrades as opposed to just 2-0. So it's you know, 2-0 is by far the most important, but the other stuff does help in some of these scrappy games sometimes. Okay, more command centers being made by Mind. He's going to bomb into 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock should be lost here permanently. TY looks like he wants to try to hold it. Not going to happen, though. Not going to happen. Just doesn't have what he needs for that. Yeah, so little. He did end up getting +3 attack. So, I mean, obviously that is a great upgrade as well. TY is probably pretty close to tapping out here. Okay, so this drop into this bottom left main, he has to hold this, and his little drop at top left has to hold the 2 top left bases. Right now, in my opinion, it's like there's 2 moves Mind can make that'll win in the game. One move is to destroy bottom left. The other move is to clear top left. Both clearing top left will instantly give him 2 more bases and allow him to do whatever he wants. Oh, he's just going to go for a mass drop into the main. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that can work as well. We'll see. He drops out. Sometimes this works, but when your opponent is giga contained and they have all their units in their main base, like he happened to hit there when there wasn't that many units sitting outside the factories. But still, you can see it doesn't do like as well as he was probably hoping for. Yeah, right? That got cleared a little bit more efficiently than you would think. Anyways, like I said, you have to actually be pretty decisive in Terran versus Terran, even when you're really well ahead, or people can inch back into the game like we've been seeing from TY. So I would like to see either a full bust on bottom left, or again, clearing top left. Okay, he's going to try to clear this space that's been taken for a very long time, and he will be able to, it looks like. The only counter move I think TY has is trying to break the center again. I think that's the only thing he can do here that makes any sense, that gives him value. Because, like, if you see this many units over there, you're like, okay, the center might be under-defended at the moment. Okay, he's going to clear this 1 tank out of 9? Okay. Maybe he doesn't even have enough units to attempt the center. Hey, look at that. I can't believe he's mining the mineral base. But actually, he needs minerals. He does need minerals. I gotta say, it's definitely been a very scrappy game. TY is trying so hard to come back into it. His army supply is still very, very good. He's got some good positions. Look at that. There's nothing that even... Yeah, that's like such a weak position. Everything TY has right now is super brittle. Everything can be broken. What we need to see from Mind is just like a very strong decision about where to go. And the thing is, Mind has... Well, I would say the one thing Mind cannot do right now is go Battlecruiser. He can't do that, but he can kind of do anything else. Like, he could go mass dropship here. He could act... a Wraith switch would take a while, so that'd probably be a little bit risky unless he had like 5 starports right now. It's like, okay, well, that means in about a minute and a half you can hit a location with 10 Wraiths. So that could be okay, but like he could go mass dropship, he could go mass unit, and if he just shoves locations over and over, there's not holding. There's no way to hold it. So he flies in here, gonna bomb on the 9 o'clock base. Yeah. TY is pretty done now. 23 SCVs remain. That's not even enough. Like, I guess you get 1 base saturation off that. That's about it. Like, clearly, as you see those command centers lift up, Mind is thinking about clearing top left. Mind, it just has, like, everything he needs. TY, okay, yeah, this makes sense. He's, like, trying to clear things. He's trying to get some sort of position back into this game. And Mind counter drops. GG! Mind qualifies for the ASL. All right, here we are. It's game number 2. We're on Dominator this time. We have Shine down there at the bottom middle and Rush up at the top left. I was just keeping an eye on what these spawns were. I think that if Shine was top left, there would be a non-zero chance of a 4 pool this game. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Just the walls on Dominator for the center right and the bottom leftish position are very strong walls against Zerg. They're a little bit less good this season because Dominator got changed a little bit. If you want to know about those maps, I did make a video recently on Artosis TV about that, which you might want to check out. And I explained that very thoroughly. But yeah, 4 pools are very good against walls. They are not 100% kill rate anymore. There's like some very certain micro that I've seen some pros doing, which can hold them. But anyways, I'm like going way off topic here because it's not a 4 pool. But Shine is the type of player that might do that if the positions were right and he felt like that was a decent way to win a game. I feel like Shine would be a good poker player. He knows how to manage his risks and put them in good spots. Now, this is just like a pretty standard wall here. It does have 1 hole in the center, and the Marines pop out on the outside. But Shine is just going to go hatchery first. This is going to be a much more standard play out of him. Well, I mean, I guess in the fact that it's hatchery first, but we actually don't know what he's going to do. Almost every player in the world will be like, yeah, he's going to go into 2 hatch here. Shine, a few seasons ago, if you guys recall, had some really cool 3 hatch plays. He was actually one of the only Zergs beating Terran in that particular season. He had some really, really cool plays, but this looks like it'll be 2 hatch. Yeah. So this could be a sneaky one because the gas is kind of fast there. No, the SCV is going to get down, so I don't think he's going to be able to hide it. This is probably just going to be a reasonably fast layer, but there's something you can do where you take these faster gases, and if they don't scout you till a little bit later, it's really hard to tell as Terran when that gas was taken, and you can actually get speed and layer at the same time and catch them off guard. In this particular game, there's a wall anyways, so that wouldn't work, but he also sees when the gas is finished as he gets there because he scouts it first, so like he would be clued into something like that anyways. So, yeah. Just throwing out some of the possible mind games because you know that Shine is going to utilize mind games in some way. And it's not that he can't macro either, by the way. Like, we have seen great macro games from Shine, just not that often. He likes the mind games. I think he does better with them as well. He's definitely not the type of methodical macro Zerg as like a hero or a Sulky. He's more of a variance-based Zerg, I guess. Some nice harassment there by Rush on that drone that was already hurt. Ooh, gets turned around. Sees 4 lings, okay. I wonder why he turned that around. That might have been an automatic thing. Oh, yeah, a little bit of miss micro for sure. And it looks like it's going to be a +1 Rush. Huh. Is there a possibility you throw down a Hydralis Den? I don't want to, like, oversell him as this cheesy, but, like, I mean, that's kind of mine for you. I mean, shine for you. So Rush gets that eBay done. There's the Spire. Nice and quick Spire going down. And, yeah, it looks like it'll just be a 2-hatch Mutalisque opener. And I'll keep my eyes out, but I'm going to stop guessing at various mind games that might occur, and I'll just kind of try to pay attention to that. Because looking at it right now, like, everything's very standard out of Shine. He did make, like, a small extra group of Zerglings coming out, so he's made about 8 lings so far, and he has speed. But nothing there is too out of the ordinary. We'll just keep an eye on where he wants to put his 3rd hatchery. Does he want to just save up for, like, the quickest, like, 6 mutas that he can get? That type of thing. Rush right now just kind of holding the front. That's what you need to do when you go for +1. You don't really have any ability to move out. That is an interesting barracks placement, actually. I haven't seen anyone put that there. One thing to note, and the reason why I'm pointing this out specifically, I haven't seen people put barracks there. This position is incredibly difficult to hold Mutalisque harassment on. There's more areas. Normally you only need turrets at your natural, at your barracks, and at your main, and it kind of makes like a screen that you run your Marines in between. Here it's very, very different. So here he has the wall, which is an extra add-on. He's got the natural here, right? Then he's got this side of the main. He's got the barracks area. And then also you can fly over with the mutas. So, well, that's starting to look like something it shouldn't. But, yeah, it's just, that is, out of all modern maps, the position Rush is in is the hardest one to hold off Mutalisque harassment in. Out of all maps in ASL right now. So I think that's why he has this kind of adjusted barracks, like, tucked in very tightly. So he's trying to utilize the barracks turrets as back of mineral line turrets, which is a very, very smart idea. I'm excited to see how that works out for him. And that also, by the way, might be why Shine is playing a very regular Mutalisque build, because he saw what position is, and it's like, oh, this position is very bad against Mutas. So, anyways, here's the Mutalisque harassment. It has started. Also, while we watch this little dance back and forth, because I don't think anything too crazy is about to happen right now, Shine has very good micro so far. That was really, really good. Really, really good. The cancel of the turret shows, because he killed too many Marines, so he couldn't support the turret, so he's like, okay, back up, back up. This can go south really quick if your Marine count gets too low. Look, 2 more mutas. Ooh! Ooh! Okay, we did hear a muta die there. But 8 mutas here. The turrets are not complete. Dude! Dude! Oh my god! Shine showing he can play a regular game. Pretty good so far. He did lose another couple mutas in there. He did lose another couple mutas. In fact, 3. More mutas coming up. He has his 3rd base. That 3rd base position points towards high aggression. Because he's like basically expanded towards Rush here. So that's going to give him good rallies, and it's like not the place you really want to defend if Rush gets out on the map. So that means that he'll just keep pressure on. Now this could be Mutalisque all in. This actually could turn into a Guardian Rush. I don't think it will though. I think the Mutalisque all in is an okay idea here. And actually going into Lurkers is an okay idea too, because this is a 4x +1 type of play. Okay, Rush is starting to move out a little bit. Now you have to decide, okay, are we going to dive on the barracks and make Sunkens? Are we going to micro against this Bioforce? Rush wants you to micro against the Bioforce. Just to make that clear. Or, well, the thing is, if you do dive on the turrets, then he probably will just go across the map and kill you. So, like, that's not what you're expecting, really. So he was not that far out. He decides to turn around and support. Very exciting. Yeah, just pure mutas so far. He has that +1 on the way. We haven't seen a Queen's Nest. We don't see any extra buildings building for Shine right now. Yeah. Diminishing returns at the moment. Was not the best right there. Just pure muta. Yeah, it'll probably be 1 starport and armory. We've heard a couple scans. This is probably Rush just checking. He's like, has a hive started? What's coming out of the natural hatchery? What's the drone count look like there? You're not really as worried about finding a 3rd base right now. You're kind of more worried about, like, is he still producing mutalisks? You can see, okay, these were reasonable, and he does have the +1 now. Ooh, a couple mutas go down right there. Really a lot. You can see how many missile turrets. How often do you see this many missile turrets? Not that often. And again, this is heavily because this position is very, very tough. There's the Hydralisk Den. Very smart to put it at the 3rd base, because I don't know if Rush has scanned that. Oh, a Marine comes down. Well, there you have it. And he's not going to kill any drones, but that's a really good scout. Just knowing that there's a Hydralisk Den, you're going to want to keep on top of checking. As soon as Hydras start popping out, you have to move. Because if he gets lurkers up to Rush's base, that's generally a victory. If there's no add-on on the factory, you win from that. And of course, when your opponent's making those, you know, gas is being spent on lurkers, the lurker upgrade, all that, which means that you have a window during the transition where they're not going to have as many mulas as they could have had. But look, yeah, he's going 1 factory, 1 starport. That's perfect. And like, he's identified this so well as well. Shine in some trouble here. He's going in for some, wait a minute. Is he going to do a lurker drop? What the hell? Or maybe he's just Dude, he's doing a lurker drop. Oh my god. Not expected. This might turn absolutely insane. I could see a game here where Shine starts losing bases but takes over the main base of Rush. There's a possibility there. So basically, if he drops the lurkers off, brings them up to the left side really quickly, and blows up the turrets, that's one way to play this. Also, going to the barracks, like, I don't think going to the barracks is good because it's too close to the siege tanks. They're going to be able to get in there too quickly, I think. Oh, man, I'm excited. This is... No one does this. No one does this. It's probably been over a year since someone did this to me. Well over a year, I'd say. Probably multiple years. It's just no one does this. This is part of why Shine is so strong. Dude, he has no idea. But when you see that, when you see Evolution Chamber, Queen's Nest, and the Hive isn't started, you're like, okay, he has lots of lurkers. That is the one thing you're 100% sure of. Now, is there a possibility this isn't a drop, but instead he's just going to run out with 1,000,000 lurkers? Okay, no, I didn't think so. I guess the drop upgrade maybe was a little bit slow. Woo! If he got that vessel, man, how big would that be? Okay, he's slowing him down with these. This is a decoy. Dude, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. Now, all the tanks will pull back. He might try to hit the front with units at that point. Okay, so these 2 lurkers... Rush is dealing with things in his main a little bit here. See, he goes up on top of the turrets, and he hits the mineral line at the same time. Dude, this is crazy. Like... Shine is really giving himself some opportunities here. Although a lot of this is giving Rush the opportunity to screw up. Oh, just misses. Gets 1 hit on each vessel. Brutal. That's the absolute worst hits you could get. Okay, pulls out of siege tank range. Yeah, he's trying to deal as much damage as he can right here. The thing is, there's no follow-up for Shine. he's kind of like run out of gas. Well, I know he has 700 gas in the bank, but like, you know, the saying run out of gas. There's just like the tempo's too far behind. GG, Rush qualifies for ASL. So 4 players have qualified. Best Bisu Mind Rush. We are going into now Group 5. Just happens to line up with our 5th player to qualify. And this one is going to be Mong versus Mini here. 2 complete regulars. Mong is in almost every season. Mini is in absolutely every season. Looking at the actual bracket, this is actually kind of a hard one to decipher. Because there's actually some quite strong players in here, like Kim Dae-han. That's Pitbull. He's a strong Zerg player, and he lost 1-2 to someone called BJ Elim. I don't know who that is. But then he 2-0'd here against Noob Kim Bum-soo. So, and then he lost 2 games, but won a game against Mong. Someone let me know. I bet you someone's going to tell me who this is. I'm like, oh, of course. I'm so stupid. Why didn't I think of that? But I'm not sure who that is. And he beat 2 very legit players and took a map off Mong. So that's like a really, really good run in the qualifier. Looking at the rest of the bracket, have heard of Lucas. I don't think I've seen his games. I'm pretty sure that this is Bengalu Hamtori that I've casted on the channel from time to time. Very strong ladder player. I'm pretty sure that's him. Not 100%. This Yun Mingu, I'm pretty sure that's Mingu, who I casted in PSL, who's like a pretty good amateur Terran player, but I'm not 100% on that one either. And against Mini here, that's Chobo. He's like a somewhat known Zerg player. So the surprising thing is that we lost 2 of the more popular, or 2 of the more known players down here to some. When it says BJ, that means streamer basically in Korea. A broadcast jockey. Yeah, I know. Make your jokes. Anyways, that's what it looks like for this bracket. Mong versus Mini should be excellent because Mong has very, very good macro TVP. And here we go. We're starting in game number 2 here on Dominator. The first game was on Radeon. We didn't get to see it, but it looks like Mong ended up winning. So that's a pretty damn big deal because, you know, if I see these 2 play in an ASL tournament, let's say, I'd be like, yeah, I think Mini's going to win, but Mong, you know, I wouldn't give him much of a chance. Oh, sorry, the sound. I wouldn't give him much of a chance against like top Zergs, like a Queen, Sulky, Hero, those types. And I wouldn't give him too much chance against top Terrans, you know, Light or Rush or something. But I would give him actually a reasonable chance against every Protoss. It's by far his best matchup. So this is a tough one for Mini. Imagine if Mini has to go into day number 2 here, not being qualified. That would be a killer bracket for someone. Someone that's like, yeah, I feel like I can do game 2 or day 2, and then they look at the bracket and they have Mini, and it's like, well, and if Mini weren't to make it, that's insane. Like I want to say Mini has been in every ASL he's ever tried to get into. I don't know 100%. I could check that pretty quickly, but I won't. But just trust me. Mini's damn good, and you know it. Okay, so on Dominator here. By the way, while this is kind of picking up still, I was trying to say this in the last game, and then Shine went completely crazy. But I am drawing just a little tiny bit. I have this kind of cool setup where I can actually draw on the screen. So I hope it's not annoying to you. I hope that it's worthwhile to kind of show you what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking about some things. But do let me know in the comments, I guess. Anyways, yeah, this is a forward gate at the natural, so this is going to be some heavy pressure, and luckily for Mini, Mong is actually going to scout him second, so it's going to take him a little bit longer to identify that this is occurring. Now, against something like this, you want to get a 3rd depot. This will be incredibly hard to fight uphill against if you're playing a 2 depot opener where you try to go 3 Marines Vulture Expand. Of course, this should be something on Mong's mind. He's going to get a nice, quick 230 factory. He has already made a Marine. And yeah, I'm kind of excited to see if he's going to just automatically put down the third depot or not. Because this is, oh man, a third Zealot? A third? Yeah, well, I guess that lines up with the Cybernetic score perfectly, but he really needs a third depot. If Mong's going to win this game, third depot is 100% key. You have to make non-stop Marines here to hold. And in fact, this type of position, in my opinion, you make 2 Vultures. 2 Vultures before add-on. Okay, he's already losing a Marine. This is really big, and Mini knows it. This is exactly the type of thing Mini wanted to start off with. Okay, so Mong's SCV is in there, and he's going to recognize that there's a lot of Zealots being made. So, yeah, third depot got started down at the bottom. I can see it on the mini-map. Oh, he gets blocked! Oh! Dude. Mini is so good at this type of rush. He is so good at this. Now, here is the main problem. There's a Dragoon being constructed right now. He's not going to die to the Zealots. What he's going to die to is a Dragoon's going to walk in. Yeah, see, he's like setting up every little trick, every opportunity for Mong to screw up. And now he's not producing out of the factory, which is an issue. He's chasing with the highest health Zealot. And look at the sacrifices that Mini's making here. He's like, yeah, we're going to kill as many Marines as possible because the Vulture can't hold off Dragoons. Mini's like already got this game, in my opinion. Like, it's not 100% over, but it's very close. Like, he needs like a surround on the Dragoon or something. He needs to repair the hell out of this Vulture. He just took 2 more hits on the Marine. Not the best micro here from Mong, and I would say the best micro here from Mini. So is that the Dragoon? There it is. Dude, this is bad. This is really bad. Second Dragoon coming. He's actually going to kill the SCV-2 because Mong is overwhelmed, it seems. Oh, he slips it by, so that's actually really good. He did go second Vulture, but after the add-on. Like, Mong you know what? He's gonna end up holding this. He is gonna live. He's gonna throw down the bunker. This is fantastic from Mini, though. Seriously, this is the type of pressure you want to see out of a player like this. And Mini's so good at these types of situations. Look at how low he has everything. Everything's gonna start dying now. And I'm surprised he didn't start a bunker, because that's the main thing. Is like, you just need to get your bunker up. You need to pull extra SCVs sometimes. He gets a tank, and again, he's going to technically live. But now the Nexus is about halfway done for Mini. See? Look at that. About halfway done. He's going into 3 gates. He saw the siege tank. He's already killed the Marines. And it's like, okay, either your command center's really late, or you're going to push, perhaps. Maybe this turns into a 1 base all-in. But he's gone 3 gates, so how do you ever break him? This has been, from Mini's side, like, basically perfectly played. Honestly, from Mong's side, those were tough positions. And, like, he's broken out. He's got mines up. You know, he's given himself a shot in this game. It was a rough opener for sure. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, losing Marines and killing Zealots doesn't matter so much. What does matter is looking at the worker count. Okay, so let's just keep an eye on the worker count. Right now, Mini is up by 2 workers. Well, it just went down to 1, but it'll probably pop back up, like, go back and forth between 1 and 3. So he's up 3 right now. But you know, he's building 2 workers at a time, and Mong is building 1 at a time. And look at this. Mong falls back into a very defensive, longer game scenario type of play by adding on an armory and an engineering bay. Now, the one thing going for Mong here is this was a 3-gate follow-up for Mini. He was playing it very safe. If Mini cuts some Dragoon production, makes a 3rd Nexus more quickly, that is going to be really, really good for him. By the way, the command center just finished. We're up 5 workers for Mini. So that's what we were kind of looking at. And it's like, okay, a 5-worker advantage. That's the truest part of the advantage that we see right now for Mini. You know, tech-wise, he's not really that far ahead or anything. You know, there's an armory versus, you know, Robo. So it's like, okay, you know, pretty close. Everything's pretty fine. Mong right now looking for an additional base. He's got plenty of mines out in really intelligent locations on the map. Okay, he's going to throw some turrets because he just doesn't know what's happening. And he definitely does need those. There are a lot of Dragoons right now. There's the observatory, a little bit late. You know, I think we have ourselves a nice game that can go into a nice macro game. And I'll be honest, like, I think if Mong, if he can secure 4 bases without being basically dead, like, I could see him still winning this game even. The thing is, Mini is really good at playing these positions a lot of the time, I think. Ooh, that was some miss micro. He's trying to Bisu that mine, but it didn't work out. But, yeah. Shuttle loads up. Oh, gosh, a 3 Zealot shuttle. So he might wait for Observer here. That's why I thought the Observatory was late, is because he was making a shuttle, so he just timed it out so that finished as the shuttle finished. And there you go. So that's Mong's nod towards he knows he's behind. And that command center is just hidden. He's just going to say, all right, let's go ahead and see if this just goes unscouted. You know, we've seen Light do that in the past, and it can be a very good comeback move. Okay, Reaver Tech on the way after the 3rd Nexus. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes like shuttle style here. These positions, pretty good. I tell you, Mong, you can really see Mong's strength in the matchup too. Look at this. 50 to 44. He has a 3rd base building in a hidden location. He has Comsats on the way. He has +1 going. In fact, +1 will be finished now, or very, very soon. Yeah, he's recovered really well. He's obviously buying, you know, he's down 30 supply and everything, so it's not like he's going to win this game right now or something, but Mini just kind of bulldozes his way in here. Okay, he's killed multiple tanks. The SCV block is magnificent, but the thing is, it's going to take so many tank hits to kill all this off of 1 siege tank. This can be one of the problems in following up with Armory. If they do something like this, it's like, oh, it's so hard to get enough units to actually reclaim your high ground. This is very smart from Mini. Look at this. He's up 20 workers now. I told you, he's good from these types of positions. You get Mini ahead, he really has good ideas a lot of times on how to maintain the lead, maybe push the lead forward a little bit. Putting a lot of damage onto the command center. He's just making everything awkward for Mong at the moment. Okay, Mini runs away with just, looks like 3 Dragoons are going to make it out, but he did real damage there. And I think if you play a speed shuttle style here, take a 4th base, losing this game will be very close to impossible for Mini. I'm going to follow that Dragoon up as he scouts the rest of the map. Citadel coming up. Nice quick Citadel. Oh, he's going to find this base. You're going to have to just float this right now. That's too bad. He's missing out on SCV, like, repopulation time. He's not going to get any significant mining out of that base. And now Mini is going to understand more fully why that was so easy to deal so much damage, because his opponent just skipped out on factories. Yeah, gets like 1 SCV out of there. Good 40 supply lead right now for Mini. And the command center falls as well. A disaster here for Mong. He has the double armory. Okay. Does he have the science facility? Well, that was not the best drop I've ever seen. Wait a minute. Is that +1? Okay, that is +2. He does have the science facility. I was like, no way. No way. No way he forgot that. Okay, so Mini is actually banking up quite a bit. I actually see this from Mini quite a bit. He's kind of a micro-oriented player, and sometimes this will happen where it's like, dude, you have 1,200 minerals. You could literally just make a Nexus and 2 gates and be in such good shape. But he's like kind of doing some other things. You know, everyone has their own prioritizations, and it can make you really strong in different ways. We see that from Snow a lot, you know? Snow, the best PvT ever. He'll spend a lot of time micro and go up to 2,000 minerals occasionally in the matchup, but it's okay because he's gaining a lot of value, and then he just pops everything down afterwards. Like, look, that's what Mini's doing right now. So he's throwing down some pylons. He's throwing down that 4th Nexus and all that. It's just a different way to play. Someone like Best would just not micro something and already have that stuff. And yeah. Different strokes for different folks. StarCraft Edition. Now, yeah, the Dragoon's just kind of fanning out. He's just going around. He's like keeping the vultures in, clearing some mines. Maybe he'll see if he can poke into the 3rd base type of thing. We just heard a DT walk up and kill a tank. Nice, definitely worth. Observer scouting what's up here. Okay, he'll get the Observer, but this is a good spread. There's not a lot of tanks here, so he'll probably have a good trade here regardless. Trying to... Oh, he actually gets the shuttle. Not bad. GG. Not a big surprise. And into the 3rd and deciding game here between Mini and Mong. Okay. We have in the top left of Deja Vu, that's Mong, and in the bottom right of Deja Vu, that's Mini. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Mini did some good things in that game. You know, I think if Mong had maybe, you know, started a bunker at some point, that's the thing. Like, you get so addicted to skipping defensive things as you get better and better. Like, you don't want to make a bunker, you don't want to overmake Marines, you don't want to make siege mode. The more you can skip, the better position you get into. But sometimes you go a little bit too far there. Anyways, you know, Mini doing a good job pushing in with those Dragoons. I think that one big push that obviously killed like 20 SCVs was kind of the most crucial moment. But he was ahead before that as well with that forward gateway, and Mong not microing his Marines to the best of his ability. So the cross spawn, it's not going to be a Nexus first or anything. Mong, by the setup, it looks like it'll be a gasless expansion. So that would actually be really good for him in cross spawn positions to go for something like that. Yep, and he's scouting on 12, so that's exactly what it should be from Mong. You can kind of tell for a couple things. First off, you never make your gas and scout on 12. Like, it doesn't work with the economy correctly. You won't have enough money for a factory. So if you go gas, you scout later on 13. And then just having the barracks that far from the command center, that's so that Marines can more quickly rally down, and also he'll put his second depot will go to the right of that barracks, so he has a place to micro his Marines if a Zealot runs up the ramp. So these are just like little things you look at. It's like, oh, okay, we kind of know what he's up to. Over at Mini's side, it looks like Mini is going to scout him second here and find the command center. This is really good for Mong. Is that a Zealot that came out, or is that an SCV? I believe that's a Zealot that came out of Mini's base, maybe? Yeah. So at least he does have a Zealot coming down. You never know. You might be able to get some damage with this. He actually missed the Zealot as his SCV went down, I'm pretty sure. So there's a world in which he comes down here, and it's like he's going to have to maybe micro 2 Marines against a Zealot and not have a bunker up already. Okay, that's a second Zealot. Okay, when you see a second Zealot here, and then you see the Cybernetics Core timing, now you know there's a first Zealot, if you put that all together in your head. The timing of the Cybernetics Core gives that away. Ooh, we might see a Bisu type build here. Going for a proxy robotics. Very, very likely. Okay. Good micro from Mong. Really, really good micro from Mong. That's really good micro from Mong. Oh my god, that was really, really, really good. And he killed the probe, so nothing can build at that pylon. And look, he's trying to hide his second probe that's coming out because the SCV didn't quite get up to where the pylon was, I'm pretty sure. But if the SCV... Oh my god! Oh my god! Dude, this is the difference between Mong getting into ASL or not, is this SCV going down and seeing nothing. If you see nothing, you're like, oh, okay. Now, this proxy robo, the correct counterplay to this is building non-stop Marines and literally going out and killing it with Marine SCV. Okay, he sees no Nexus. Now he should send an SCV scout out immediately to look for this. Immediately. Where is it? He's not sending anything? The factory, like, to get siege mode out, this is going to be a strong push before siege mode. Like, again, the when you do some research on these two builds, generally what you want is, again, non-submarine production, push out, find that this is there, bring SCV Marine and push it. It's kind of like if someone's warping cannons in your main base. You're like, no, we gotta get out there and put some pressure on, maybe build a bunker near it if possible. The thing is, it looks like he feels like he can maybe fall back on his defense a little bit here. This is going to be very scary, I think. Mini is super, super all in. And, you know, sometimes Tastes and I have been critical about Mini's decisions in some of these games. Okay, he has to know there's a robo there. He has to 100% know. Sometimes we're critical about the risks he's willing to take. Now, Mong, again, Mong is a top-level TVP player. You know, obviously having one matchup that's God tier is not enough to, like, win a tournament generally. So we don't expect him to, like, win a tournament, but just throwing that out there, that, like, risks that Mini take in some ways could be justified based on the strength of his opponent. But at the same time, you would think that Mini is just kind of better, so, like, why are we taking this many risks? But this is how Mini plays, man. Okay, so now we have 3 Dragoons, 2 Zealots in the base. You have to pull your SCVs like they're bees. Oh, dude. He blocked the siege tank and insta-killed it. I think Mini's going to ASL. He needs to bring a Reaver in before he loses all these units, and he's going to kill so many SCVs. Well, we'll see. Like, there's still a chance here. That's a good surround right there. It really comes down heavily to surrounding the Dragoons. Okay, he doesn't have enough SCVs here anymore. Oh, man. You know, I think Mong doesn't play against this that often. You got to be a lower-ranked player to be good against this build. Yeah, the Reaver's out now. This should be just a mini victory. Oh, man. Mong is down by 10 workers. Okay, GG. Mini qualifies for ASL. Okay, we are going to get our 6th player qualified here, which should be, I believe, half of the day 1 qualifiers done. So let's go over that just real quick. Best Bisu, Mind Rush, Mini have all qualified. This match is going to be Queen, the 2-time champion, who is in great shape right now, by the way, going up against Horangi. Or Horang 2, as you might see it. 2 makes sound E, and well, that's the word for 2 in Korean, and Horangi is tiger. Okay, Protoss player. He's been in a lot of ASLs before. Here he is in the finals against Queen. Looking at how they got here. Okay, so we have down here, let's see. This is Kang Tae-won. That is Byul, the Terran player. So he won ACS, the very first ACS tournament. He hasn't had that great of a career since then, but Queen was able to take him out 2-0. Not a big surprise. Queen's been crushing face. We have Hyun over here that Byul had taken out. And this isn't the StarCraft 2 Byul. I know StarCraft 2 Byul plays StarCraft 1 some as well, but this is the Terran Byul. Yeah. So Hyun was playing as well, didn't quite make it. Hyun, of course, a big fan favorite back in the StarCraft 2 days, and a pretty good Zerg here as well. Queen down here, he beat a Terran player that goes by Kim Young-ju. Kim Young-ju was a pro on STX a long time ago. I don't know if that's him or not. I have no real way to check that, but it could be Young-ju from STX. That seems like it's a reasonable thing that could be the case. Up here on this side, this is actually a little bit more exciting in my opinion. So we actually have Movie here losing, and that's kind of impressive. Yeah, didn't really think about that, but yeah, Movie obviously is like a pretty strong Protoss overall, but he's pretty weak against Zerg. Now, this wasn't a Zerg player that he was up against. He was up against Gu Dongju, and who lost to Horangi up here in a PvP. This is Choshim, I believe, the Protoss player. Definitely see him really active online. you know, playing a lot of tournament or a lot of ladder and stuff like that recently. The last big name player here is the player who was defeated in well, not second place, the top 4 here by Horangi. Can barely speak at this point. Been casting for hours. This is Kim Gu-hyun, and that is my boy Cal, one of the 6 dragons. We just casted him the last 3 days on this channel because he has returned, and he immediately, like the Giga Chad that he is, goes and plays the qualifiers. He beat this guy. I have no idea who he is. He beat this guy who's a bad Terran player, and then he lost to Horangi without winning a map. That's okay. That's okay. Cal, love you. Okay, so there you go. That is the bracket that we're looking at here. And Queen versus Horangi, a ZVP, definitely favoring Queen there pretty heavily. Horangi is a good macro player, so who knows? But that's a pretty good bracket. That's a pretty good bracket to come out of, honestly. There's some strong players in there for sure. Maybe not like ASL regulars and stuff. I honestly think if Cal just continues, like probably next season he'll be in. Like that guy seriously has some talent. Anyways, here we go. In the top right, MSTZ Cold. It's Horangi. In the bottom left, we have Queen. We're on Deja Vu, which means this is map number 3. They're tied up 1-1 right now. So unable to see those first 2 games, but this is going to be for all the marbles. This would be huge if Queen doesn't make it because of Horangi. Queen's in very good shape right now. Okay, I want to put that out there. And I know that Queen became a meme a few seasons ago when literally an A-rank Terran went for a Marine Rush against him twice and beat him and knocked him out of the qualifier, and he didn't make it in. I believe it's the only season that Queen tried to make it in and he didn't make it. And he's like a 2-time champion, and like honestly, I've seen a lot of his games lately and he's in really good shape. He's crushing face. He looks fantastic. So I expect him to win. Horangi, I will be honest with you, I do not like Horangi's play even a little bit. The way he plays Protoss makes me feel queasy. So I think that Queen should be able to pull this out, but at this point it's a best of 1, so it's really hard to say what this will look like. Horangi does cross spawn scout and will instantly find Queen, who looks like he's going overpool here. Yep, exactly, overpool. So Horangi should have that measured out for exactly what he wants to do with this build. So I'm not going to sit here and predict because I don't know exactly what his timings are. Like, okay, overpool, cross spawn. How quickly does that get there? Can I fit Nexus and a cannon? I don't know. It looks like he's going to go Nexus first. And yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised. I've definitely seen that in the past. And it looks like it's like a 12 Nexus. I remember the first time I saw a Protoss doing this specifically, Rain was holding at 11 probes doing this in a KSL season a really long time ago. I remember Taste and I seeing that and be like, oh, damn, he has that mapped out perfect. That's crazy. But I have seen players doing this with the 12 Nexus instead lately. So yeah, not a big surprise there. Looks like we should have a lead here for Horangi compared to where Queen's at, but not something that Queen can't play from that position. Oh God, I just realized I don't have the sound on. I'm so sorry. This is a very long casting day for me right now. You know, I was thinking of what I'll be doing with the videos. I think what I'm going to do is each day qualifies about 12 players. Like I think it's 12 and 11 if I'm not mistaken. So I'm thinking I'm probably just going to split it into a total of 4 videos for the 2 days. I think that's a good way to do it. These are getting really long. There's a lot of games in here, and my voice is going to end up going. So hope that you do enjoy the longer videos. Just historically on the channel, actually the shorter videos do a little bit better. Like the 20-ish minutes is like the golden spot, I guess, where people really like that type of length. Like a 15-20 minute video generally performs really well. But I think we got to get these qualifier games out there, man. We can't spread this out over 2 weeks, even though that is how long it is until the next thing. But yeah, anyways, there you go. This is the build up to ASL. Thank you for tuning into ArtosisCasts for these qualifiers, and do make sure that you follow for the season on ASL with Tasos and I, who will be doing all of the ASL there as well. Okay, anyways, whatever. Here we are. Layer on the way. Looks like a pretty standard opener from Queen. Probably into Aspire here. Cybernetics Core is coming up for Horangi. And we kind of wait to see. You know, I imagine it'll be like Spire 4 Scourge into just Hydra. As far as Horangi goes, like, obviously you got to go Corsair here. It would be shocking if he had something else saved up. Some other sort of build, because not too much exists in these types of positions. Like, you just kind of got to get that Corsair out. Otherwise, mutas would dominate you, and or maybe you wouldn't even scout an incoming all-in. Fair amount of Lings actually coming out right now. Woo! Yeah, he's going to lose it. Oh, I don't know what that juke was. That was a misclick. But yeah, the probe is going to go down anyways, and it does in fact go down, so looks like he's withdrawing his Zealot right now from the map. And, oh my god, are you serious? The Speedlings just run by. Well, that's a pretty Horangi moment right there, I'm going to have to be honest about. So Queen going to be microing these pretty darn heavily in the main base. We'll see how many probes he's able to actually get. He's definitely screwed up the mining time already quite a bit. Quite a bit of gas being missed as far as mining goes as well. Zealot is trying to chase those down. Additional macro hatches on the way. Cannon being warped in. I actually appreciate that cannon. I'm going to go ahead and say it. A lot of pros would skip that cannon. It's like, well, it's 3 Lings. They're already damaged. I'm not going to spend money on a cannon. But honestly, when you're playing a 2-time ASL champion, you can't expect these Lings to die. And you can't lose... Like, the amount of mining time he's lost already probably equals near 150. And then he lost a probe too. 100% he's lost more than 150 minerals of worth. Not that the cannon makes that suddenly reappear. I'm just saying, right? Like, it's big. Now, we just saw a Flyer Carapace on the way as the Spire was clicked on. So, it does look like likely we're going to see at least 5 mutas out of this. You know, that makes the Photon Cannon even smarter to have in there for Horangi. Not only will it block those Lings, but potential mutas coming in or even Scourge coming in to look for Corsair kills. That's going to be good defensively. Some nice micro here from Queen, saving his drones. Almost gets a probe there, the natural, actually. Good save from Horangi, though. Yep, and there you go. I actually... Yeah, no, I guess with the Corsairs sitting there, he can block Scourge from sitting on top of the exit point for Corsairs. Because that's always an issue that you got to watch out for. You just put Scourge on top of where the Corsairs pop out, and when they pop out, they die. But yeah, normally what you do is you put a cannon in range, but he's just utilizing the Corsairs, which are covered by the cannon, so that makes sense. Good defense from Horangi. Okay, sets up a trap probe in the back to keep his Corsairs clumped. Definitely something you want to see. Throwing down some additional pylons so he has a place to make all these gateways and the supply to make all the units as well. Actually gets a fair amount of Scourge kills there, okay. Hydralis Den is on the way. I think we're going to see a small round of mutas, but it doesn't have to be. You can get the Carapace and go into Hydra and use mutas later. That's absolutely doable. We've seen that in the past. It's not like super popular. If you get the Carapace, oftentimes you want some mutas. But honestly, Horangi's defense and his placement of cannons and everything has been solid enough that if you wanted to skip the mutas, I don't think that's a terrible choice. Yeah, he's got that +1 now. We'll see. All right, there are the mutas. We'll see if he goes over 5, though. He's got 5. I'd imagine it'll be 5 into Hydra. Yeah, plenty of drones still being made. He's really bringing up that drone number. DT coming out onto the map. Gonna clear a Ling. Don't know if Queen recognized that or not. 6 gates being warped in. We'll see if it goes up to that 7th gate being warped in for the total of 8, because that is the kind of that's the, I guess, perfect macro off of 2 base. All right, and here we go. The 5 mutas gonna try coming. Ooh, that was a big volley. Really good positioning to have that there. Okay, DT gets 2 drone kills. Gonna back out. Size Storm almost done. Yeah, and it's just like some heavy macro here coming out of Queen. Good upgrades from Horangi. Like this is, I mean, this is about as standard as a ZVP gets right now, isn't it? The Mutos haven't really found any damage, but they still are a little bit of a threat. Catching a Zealot as it comes out. Speed Zealot trying to get a little bit of a scout down. Not going to really succeed in that. Corsair's going to chase that back. DT's rotating around, not really finding anything. Okay, here's something a little bit interesting. Top left, hatchery. You don't always see that as a fourth base. I feel like a much more common fourth base would be the third of top left. If I could draw on the screen, like this one is a bit more common from Zerg, not this one. Because that one is kind of far away. Like if you put any distraction on the map as Protoss and send a few Zealots up there, you're probably going to get a kill. So we'll see if that works out for Queen or not. All right, he actually attacks in and loses 3 of his 7 Corsairs to the Scourge that were just sitting there. Horangi, out of every Protoss Pro, is by far the most wasteful with his Corsairs. I will literally never forget nor never forgive the game on Eclipse that he played in ASL where he traded like 9 to 11 Corsairs for 2 Overlords. It happened. I don't remember who it was against. It doesn't matter who it was against. But I just watched Scourge that were not being microed kill 3 Corsairs out of 7. So obviously not the best control nor decision-making there from Horangi. Lots of Dragoons coming out. Lots of gateways here, so his macro is going to be big. He's got 9 gates. You don't see that often. Occasionally you'll see it. Like, I think this is going to basically be like a 2-base all-in. He's on 53 probes. Well, he has something up at the 3rd base, so maybe there's a chance of a Nexus up there. But if you're going to make 9 gates, like, it kind of feels like you want to get something done. He went into the Dragoons pretty quickly this game. Like, not very many Speed Zealots, and that definitely can open up some really strong timing attacks for you when you start, like, heavy Dragoon production early on. Notice how he's not even getting +2 armor. Yeah, that whatever that is up at the 12 o'clock base, it's not for a Nexus. If you're going to make a Nexus, you're going to get a 3rd upgrade as well. If you're going to all in, okay, you can skip the Nexus, you can skip the 3rd upgrade, just go. It is a lot of Dragoons right now, and he has a fair amount of High Templars also. Watch him just start a Nexus. Yeah, okay. No 3rd upgrade, getting the Nexus, 9 gateways producing, less probes than your opponent has drones. Let's go. We got this. All right, High Templar being brought up to his army. Lots of Lurker Ling here. That is an excellent defense with a Nidus already. I think Queen is going to moonwalk into the ASL here. I think this isn't even going to be a close game. It's funny because they both have like huge supplies and stuff. So you're like, oh, wow, this might be like a crazy macro game. I don't think so. I think Queen is about to rip his head off. Like Horangi is going to attack something, lose absolutely everything, and then Queen wins. Like, yeah. You're not going to break Queen here. Horangi is macroing pretty quickly. He's got good supply, but look at what Queen has right now. All right, so Horangi gonna storm. He's gonna miss every Ling with that while he pushes back a row of 12 Lings, utilizing a size storm. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, yeah, he's going to run away with these Lings. Horangi chases those back. Single High Templar kind of sitting out in the middle of nowhere here. Throws the storm down, gets a few Lings. Not sure how useful that was, but, you know, at least he gets the storm off, I guess. I'm not sure why it's sitting in front there. I guess maybe that's just the rally point. The Ling's rotating out as he runs away from there. The thing is, these Lings don't matter to Queen. Queen wants Horangi to chase this stuff around. You know? Queen has an insane economy. He has 4 gases. Like, I guarantee you he's getting Consume, he's getting Plague. His Adrenal upgrade is probably about to... Yeah, it looks like Adrenal is finished. I'm sure he's got 3 Evos going. Horangi throws on another Nexus, which all right, I'll back it up. That's a good move. The Nexus makes a lot of sense. Make that 4th Nexus. I think the main problem here is you're not going to be able to hold this range of bases. He's going to have to expand into the bottom right eventually, and he's going to have to roam the center. Not like up here. I don't think so. I think he needs to back up a little bit more for his roam, but I guess we'll see. But he needs like a lot of roaming going on because he needs to intercept everything that comes across the map. If a Defiler appears at a base, it's probably going to die. That's a pretty normal thing. Defiler appears, Darkstorm Plague goes down, Ling Lurker Hydra breaks it. So he needs to keep those bases alive. He's definitely got the income to continue to fight here. And look, if he takes engages like that, he runs up, takes that type of engage. Hey, that's a good move too. He sharks back and forth, grinds out Psystorms, grinds off units. I'll take back everything else. Well, I won't take it back. It's all true still, but you know, I'll give props where props are due. Like right now, this type of roam, I feel like this is exactly what he needs. He needs consistent cost efficiency in keeping his opponent back. Now, he roamed to the north a little bit. He didn't have anything down here, so there is an attack incoming on his 4th base. Hopefully, he has enough there. 1 Photon Cannon, 4 Zealots with other Photon Cannons warping in. Doesn't seem like that's going to be enough here. So he's going to run up and try to save this. I think this actually just dies. That's why I was saying he should have a further back roam before, because you simply have to catch this. So against Queen, I would call this a position that's not winnable. I don't like if you have the 4th up in mind, you have all this gas mineral income. Okay, but his main's about to run dry. His natural's about to run dry. He has to restart that 4th. The little walk to the north didn't really work. Like he just needed a further back roam, in my opinion. All right, so this is more of the area I kind of wanted to see him occupying. All right, he's got some more units up there to kind of slow that down. Okay. Okay, decent storm. Some decent storms, a really good spread of Dragoons here. You can definitely kill off all these lurkers. His units plus zealots, or his zealots plus cannons rather, up at 12 o'clock did hold. Okay, the thing is, you can't attack. You absolutely can't attack into this. So just back up. Yeah, okay. That type of area that he's in right now, I feel like that is kind of your sweet spot of roaming. And the thing is, you can't just do that forever and win. He needs to set up bottom right, as I said. And if you're roaming in that further back position, you're kind of guarding everything except 12. But the thing is, your rally is closer to 12. You have additional units and cannons at 12, so it's like, okay. You know, eventually you might have to give up 12. Like, you can't fight tooth and nail over there and expand bottom right. That doesn't work. But if you can kind of keep it alive while expanding bottom right and keeping this space alive, okay, we're talking about a real game plan now. And that's what I want to see out of Horangi. As you know, the thing is, as much as I want Queen to win, like, I think a season without Queen is a weaker season than it could have been otherwise. I think no one would disagree with that. I want Queen to win this. But I want more than that to see a very nice game here. And right now, like, actually, there's a lot of good things going on. Like, he's keeping the right area. He's got a probe, I believe, in the bottom right making a pylon. So he's getting ready for that base. Hopefully his upgrades are good. I actually haven't checked the upgrades in a little bit. Hopefully we get something clicked on there. It looks like he did get a Defiler to show up here. He's got 3 Psystorms. I think he can hold this. Hit one right now. That's a great Psystorm. That's a great Psystorm. That's a great Psystorm. This is what we needed to see. Absolutely. Okay, well, you get some Hydras up there, but like you can hold this. Now, those goons are not going to do a good job. Now, he's moving kind of his whole army up here. This is what I'm really nervous about. If Queen sends units up here... Oh, my God. He's just right-click on the Nexus with, like, 2 circles. Anyways, if Queen can get him... Oh, man, some mutas. Those are the earlier mutas that didn't do anything. They're going to deny this now. They kill the probe that's trying to set up bottom right. Ah! Anyways, like I said, like, keep 12 o'clock alive as much as you can, but, like, you have to focus on getting bottom right set up. And from there, of course, into Reavers, which we already saw some Reavers at his 4th, which is nice. But you can't send your whole army up here to help this. Because if you do, then the rally points, the main rally points from Queen just hit bottom right, and you never set that up. And you can't win this long term. The amount of bases Queen has 6 bases. Long term, you don't hold. There's just too much Plague and too much Darkstorm grind. So he sent his whole army up here, and now this army is moving in. And, like, you needed an army here to stop this because the bottom right quadrant is the most important thing on the map here for Horangi. All right, some really, truly excellent storms there. Very clumped up army from Queen, so that actually turned out really well for him, I'd say. Another attack comes in. No Darkstorm at the moment. Nice. That means he's actually getting some value from these cannons. That's what you want. Picks off the High Templar. That was a nice target. Okay. Good defense. He's keeping that alive, but keep that alive with those minimal units. Horangi trying to set up bottom right again. Another group of units coming in. If you look at the mini-map, look where his army is. Like I said, it needs to be in this area right here. So a little bit out of position there. And now he's sending it to the north to try to save this again. He's stretched way too thin. You sometimes do have to give up positions. Sometimes you mine from a certain area for a while, and you just say, yeah, the game has shifted into this other direction. I can't hold that anymore. You make it cost inefficient for your opponent to get rid of, but this is taking too long to get bottom right. And Queen hasn't taken a drone of damage. He has not lost a damn thing on his side of the map. It's all been on Horangi's side. Queen is controlling the tempo of this game, and Horangi's not holding the correct positions right now. His army looks pretty good, though, right? He's got Reavers. He's got a good amount of High Templars, a lot of Archons in here now. Some Zealots. You know, he still has some Dragoons. You still want some Dragoons, but they're not that useful against Defilers, obviously. It's a good army, and now it looks like he wants to, like, counterattack. Maybe he looks at this and says, okay, I held enough attacks. Let's go for a counter. I don't, like, maybe he can kill that base. Maybe he can, but he's going to lose a base for doing it. And that's not going to be equal. Losing 1 of 2 mining bases to kill 1 of 5 mining bases is not, it's just not a good trade. No matter how efficient you are, it's not going to be a good trade. So he will kill this, but he will lose his 4th, and Queen is looking like he's just going to run away with this. Right, I mean, he's trying to break right now. He's got the Reavers in here, which make it interesting. Good Plague down on those Reavers. That is definitely useful. That's a great storm right there. Hey! Pretty cool. The thing is, Horangi has 1 mining base right now. So, like, even if you break this, I still think you lose this. Even if you break this. Okay, so here comes another reinforcement from Queen. Going to mostly surround this stuff. He's actually got some Hydras mixed in, which are going to deal with these, with, like, the Reavers as well as the Archons really, really well. Just mass units coming up, just sandwiching them from both sides, and I think we'll see a GG. There's nothing left here. Right? Nothing left. That's it. GG. And that means that Queen ends up qualifying. So that is the first half of day 1 qualifiers. The rest will be on tomorrow. Again, big congratulations to Best, Bisu, Mind, Rush, Mini, and Queen. That is 3 of the absolute best Protoss, 2 of the absolute best Terran, and 1 of the absolute best Zergs qualifying.